All right. Today we're going to talk about some jokes, some just jokes, and about when something's just a joke and when something tells you something a little bit more than a joke. But to begin with, we're going to talk about ancient Syracuse. And while you listen to this story, keep some of parts of it in mind, because they might inform maybe the arc that our old friend Jim is going on here. So ancient Syracuse was a city that was founded by the Greeks in modern-day Syracuse in Sicily, and was very rich. It was probably the richest city in Magna Graecia, which were the Greeks in southern Italy and in Sicily. And around the early 3rd century, so the 200s, early 200s, Syracuse had a problem. A city north of it that controlled the straits between Italy and Sicily was taken over by a bunch of mercenaries called the Mamertines. And Syracuse had a problem. It couldn't get rid of the Mamertines, and they were raiding and pillaging and doing all this bad stuff. So they took an anonymous guy called Hiero II, who was just some guy who was competent, and the anonymous masses made Hiero II their hero, and gave him all this power and all this leeway to deal with the Mamertines. And at first, things went really well. Hiero went and he fought the Mamertines and he forced them into a treaty. But right before he took Messina, he was stopped. He was stopped by the Carthaginians, who wanted the Mamertines as their vassal. And to win some of these early battles, he got this guy Archimedes, you may have heard of, who was this old, perpetually dying guy who would invent all of these crazy, inventions, supposedly, like heat rays and stuff. And so the Carthaginians saved the city of Messina, the Mamertines, but the threat overall is diminished. Well, that was until Rome showed up, and Rome wanted the city of Messina. So Rome lands in Sicily, and Hiero II is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Which side does he take? The Carthaginians or the Romans? How does he save his city? Well, at first he takes the side of the Carthaginians because they were closest. Until eventually the Romans marched their army down and he could tell that the Romans were righteous. And he joined their side. Well, the First Punic War happens, and obviously the Romans end up winning. And Hiero II was a big part of that victory. He helped supply the Romans in Sicily and was overall a really good guy. And everybody loved him. The Syracusans loved him because he essentially saved their city, first from the Mamertines and then this big war. The Romans loved him because he was loyal and he always seemed to pick the right side. And so then what happens? Well, Syracuse grows big and prosperous from years of peace, and it grows complacent. And so when Hiero II dies, his grandson Hieronymus takes over. And Hieronymus was a little out of touch. And he was a little petty. And he thought he was hot shit. And he thought, why do I have to pick between the Romans and the Carthaginians? Rome's won, and I can do better. I can win. Because Hiero did not impart upon Hieronymus the principles that led to Syracuse's prosperity. So what does Hieronymus do? It turns on the alliance with Rome. It calls up Carthage and says, if you give me all of Sicily in this war, I'll turn on my erstwhile allies. The same people, the righteous Romans who made Syracuse rich. And Archimedes is there this whole time, this old, decrepit guy designing his weird, against nature, degenerate super weapons that are going to save Syracuse. Well, what happens? Rome marches down with a legion and puts Syracuse to siege. The problem is Archimedes has all these crazy weapons like catapults and heat rays, and apparently he had a big claw that would dunk ships, and the Romans can't break through. So what happens? How does Hieronymus, who at this point has been deposed, but his faction is still in control, how do they take advantage of the fact that, the Romans just can't break through? They get overconfident. And they do a festival, a big degenerate bacchanalia in the middle of their city that is still under siege to celebrate their patron goddess, Artemis, a fake female form, a pagan deity. Of course, these guys are all pagans, but, the way they celebrate Artemis is like in the chaotic Dionysian fashion. And the pious Romans, the austere and stoic Romans, take advantage of this and storm the city. while they're doing this Bacchanalia, and they put the entire disloyal population to the sword, including Archimedes, totally oblivious to what's happening, that he's drawing his circles, his 2D drawings that represent the folly of his hubris. And this Roman soldier, despite being commanded not to kill Archimedes, he puts an end to it, and he strikes him down. And what happens to Syracuse after this, after its population is demolished? Well, Rome rebuilds. It rebuilds Syracuse bigger and bigger than it ever had been, more prosperous, more virtuous, everything. And so in the end, it all worked out. And that is what happened to the ancient city of Syracuse. I'd like us all to think about that while we go into the real story here that's far more important than ancient history, which is that Daddy Jim has decided to have a full stream where he talks to a VTuber Fox girl, one that has a lot of very interesting statements. Recent statements. Statements that even when they've been corrected, when they've been shown why they are misinformed and why they are evil and degenerate, has continued to repeat them. But it would be one thing for me to go over this stream that he does with Kirsch, which is the VTuber. But I'd like to do a general history. Pagans can be virtuous while worshiping demons. There's such a concept as virtuous pagans, but that's a larger idea. Basically, there are pagans who can come to the conclusion of monotheism. Cicero did so in his it's on laws. He comes to the conclusion that there is something even higher than the gods, known as natural law, which, if you extrapolate through a Platonic idea, is monotheism. Anyway, sorry, that doesn't matter. Let's go. Like I said, we're going to go through a general survey of the history of Mr. Medicare's ability to judge when people are joking about these things and when they're not. And, there's an older video called Decepticons and Molestobots that I could go over. It's a little long. It's kind of his way earlier, and I don't think it's relevant. Well, let's start here with Nick Bate in 2015. Now, I'm not going to play this whole video because there's a lot of really gross stuff in here. If they are satanic, then I'm glad I got rid of them. I cast them away. There's a lot of really gross stuff in here that I just don't even want to play. I don't want to listen to it again. I don't want to make anyone else listen to it. But suffice it to say, Nick Bate was a guy who made all of these, quote, parody songs that were explicitly pedophilic. They were 10 times worse than that veto tweet that I put on screen. Really terrible stuff. And he hid behind that. It's just jokes, guys. I'm just kidding. Now, of course, like all these guys who tell these explicit jokes, who make it their entire personality, who make it their representation, their physical representations. Like a lot of these guys, it turned out that he was an offender and that he had offended against his own sister, his own half-sister. So this is the conclusion after going through all this. Now, this video is portrayed kind of as a joke where he's like pretending to defend Nick Bate. Now, it's obviously he's not. He says, and here's the conclusion he comes to.
Case closed. Because, smearing shit all over my genitals clearly indicates that I'm incapable of molesting children.
And what he's referring to here is Nick Bates' defense for not being a pedophile was that he likes to eat poop. If you're wondering how that defends it, it's a good question.
That is a slam dunk. So I say to you, the viewer, what do you think? We have Nick Bates, a man who has openly expressed on the internet that he is in fact a pedophile, who has openly admitted that he's had sexual conversations with his half-sister, who was a preteen at the time, who admitted to a woman he was in love with that he had engaged in sexual activities with that minor. He's written songs expressing his desire to rape and have sex with children. I think when you add all these things up, it's pretty clear that he is guilty. You know what? Fuck it. Free Hat McCullough.
So, pretty rational conclusion, if you've seen all the evidence that's in that, and like I said, I'm not going to play it here, but you can look at that video. It's conclusive. Like he said, he makes all these songs being like pedophilic and whatnot. It's pretty clear that he's guilty. Okay, so jokes aren't just jokes when they reach a certain point. Understood. But, Jim hasn't always been that position. That's 2015. Let's go back to, I think this is around 2017, when you have this guy from Singapore, Amos Yee. Amos Yee, again, guy who likes to make all these jokes about pedophilia, likes to defend pedophilia, but he says, I'm not a pedophile. This is all just a super big brain argument about free speech, right? And Jim is going to give he really only gives two. I don't know why he says three, but two possibilities here. Either he's telling the truth and it really is all principled, if you even consider that alone like a possibility. And then number 2, it's all a big brain troll. Now he forgets a third option here, which is the option he applied to Nick Bate, which is maybe he's just a pedophile. But let's hear him go through the logic here.
Why do you think that kids and babies aren't able to consent to sex?
1 hour later.
I'm getting kicked out of this wonderful house.
So Amos Yee gets kicked out for saying a bunch of crazy shit, right?
And I don't buy any of it. There are 3 possibilities with Amos Yee. I want you to just, this is a short video, but I just want you to hear me out. Let me put forward my idea and give you the 3 possibilities of what's going on right now. Now, Amos Yee, like I said, he's making the rounds. He's talked to everybody. If you look at his video history, you look at all those videos. All those videos talking about pedophilia. He's had debates with Count Dankula. He's had debates with Destiny. I don't even know if they were really having a debate or if Amos mistook Destiny for a little boy and was trying to lure him into his van with a little bit of candy. Take your stilts off. I like him short. Hopefully, Destiny is okay. Maybe we can call the police and make sure he hasn't disappeared. Or we'll at least put his picture on 8 and then multiple streams. And everybody's been fucking talking about him. Oh my God, this guy's out there. He's saying all this outrageous shit. He has to be legitimate. Well, that's our first possibility, isn't it? That Amos Yee is telling the truth, that he really is advocating for these ideas. Now, he tries to give a nuanced approach and say, well, I'm not saying I'm a pedophile. I'm just saying free speech, man. Free speech. We should be able to talk about it. Why is this a bad thing? I'm doing the devil's advocate position. Don't come down on me. I'm not saying I want to bang kids. I'm just standing up for my brothers that might want to get a little bit of toddler pussy. And on face value, you might be inclined to believe it. Hell, you can look back a year ago and see that this guy was doing videos talking about the same thing. Child pornography is okay. Having debates about child pornography. So on that surface level, when you look at his videos, when you look at his social media that's been taken down, but when you look at it, it looks legit. Oh my God, this guy really believes this shit. That's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2, and we're getting really close to the truth now, aren't we? Is that he's just trolling. He's an attention whore, and he's always been an attention whore, and it plays into the thing that he does to garner attention. Now, he's not from the US originally. He's from Singapore, and he ran into a little bit of legal trouble over there. Spent some time in prison for some of his shenanigans. And I'm gonna give you the Cliff Note version of this shit, right from the Wikipedia article. This is what got him a little over a month in prison. In late March 2015, shortly after the death of the first Prime Minister of Singapore, Yee uploaded a video on YouTube criticizing Lee. In the video, Yee compared Lee to Jesus and cast both in an unfavorable light. Yee also uploaded to his blog an image depicting Lee and Margaret Thatcher engaged in anal sex.
Okay, whatever. No one cares about the politics part.
Now, judging from the video that he just put up, let's say the possibility.
Basically, what he's establishing here is that this guy has a history, supposedly, of just saying crazy shit. The problem is there's a difference between, like, saying crazy political shit like that and, again, what he's going to show here about the sort of stuff he says about, like, defending pedophilia.
Number 2, he's fucking trolling. This is all an attention to children that are placed in that home and told him, you need to get out of here. In fact, they give him the attitude he takes in regards to what he's talking about. Shit that's so over the top and ridiculous.
Look, here's some of the stuff he's putting out, and compare this to the veto tweet. Compare this to Nick Bates' songs when he's later proven to be a pedophile.
I could imagine myself doing it to fuck with people. Like, this just hard.
Hold on. Let's go back a second here. So he's about to describe some of the jokes that Amos makes
in his videos and just the attitude he takes in regards to what he's talking about. Shit that's so over the top and ridiculous, I could imagine myself doing it to fuck with.
Stuff that's so ridiculous and over the top, I can imagine myself doing it. Now, in a video like this, that's just kind of putting a theory out here back at the time, 2017, that's a little bit, that's like a yellow flag. That's like, oh, well, what kind of stuff is he saying that you would maybe do? However, now that we are years later after all of this stuff, after what we're about to see, the sort of people that he's bringing on stream, not to make fun of, not to press, not even to engage in the way that he's about to engage with Amos, because I'm going to play their debate too. But like literally declaring, I'm going to bring this up with Pippa, declaring them the king of the sector and all this stuff, really puts it back into perspective. So let's look at the sort of memes that again, now everything in hindsight, now that we're looking at sort of the way things have developed, what he would do
with people. Like this,
some of these jokes that he would make.
Just such absurd shit that you'd have to be a retard to believe it, and that's what makes it so great when you're.
You have to be a retard to believe it. Again, look at the development here in just 2 years, from 2015, Nick Bate. Crazy, he talking about eating poop and molesting his sister in songs. You'd have to be a retard to believe it, right? Oops, gets convicted, right?
Fucking with somebody. Like pictures like this that he includes in his videos.
So this is the sort of jokes that we would be making. I'm Mark, I'm a web designer, I'm half ooh, that's the worst part of this. I rule at Halo, I hate K-On, I've seen the pyramids, and I'm a pedophile. Great, okay.
I rule at Halo, and I'm a pedophile. That's just so fucking ridiculous. Look at that obnoxious cunt on that poster. I play Halo MLG, let's go fuck some kitties. Come the fuck on. Or even entire videos. Look at this shit. Obnoxious.
I'm not trolling, supporting pedophilia, you idiots. I am God. So again, when they tell you what they are, maybe you should hold them to that standard. But no, Jim is going to propose the theory here.
God in the description.
That this is all just a troll. This is all attention seeking. Okay, I think it's pretty retarded, and it's easy to say that. It's easy to say that in hindsight. But let's move on to, or let's see, there's
totally not trolling you guys. This is shit that he just put up just recently. It's so fucking dumb, and it's so right in your face that I don't buy it. So I know Yee's everywhere, and I feel compelled to talk about it because it's interesting and entertaining to watch this play itself out. Like I said, I really believe it's possibility 2 or 3. I don't think this is genuine, but we're going to have it.
Of course, possibility 3 that he doesn't mention. The real possibility 3 is that the guy is an offending pedophile. I wonder if that could be true.
An answer really fucking soon, aren't we? Because that date that he listed, he has to get out of there. He's written himself into a corner if he's trolling because he can't stay there. The government intervened. This isn't like the family can say, "Oh, you can stay. We changed our mind."
Huh. He's already bringing up reasons why it's totally retarded to think that this guy's just trolling because he's literally gone to jail for it.
CPS said you have to leave. So room, but there's no way this is legitimate. He has a history of doing this shit. He got a bunch of attention from.
He has a history of getting attention. He also has a history of being kicked out of his home. Again, my point here is that at the time, if you were to come across this video, especially with Jim and the reputation he was at the time, it might seem kind of reasonable. It might be like Archimedes with his invention. But looking back and also looking at it a little more sober eyes, it's like, really? You thought that this was just trolling, especially after seeing Nick Bate? So let's move on. This is probably one of the most... Oops, I accidentally... Okay, sorry. So this debate is perhaps one of the most retarded autistic IBS debates that's ever existed. Luckily, it's very short. It's going to be confusing, but let me explain you exactly what's happening here. So as we've already covered, it is Jim's position that Amos is a troll, that he's not really a pedophile. It is Amos's position that he is a pedophile, okay? Let me repeat that. What he's trying to prove in this debate is he is really a pedophile. Okay? Jim's position, the outsider, is that this guy is lying about himself and isn't really a pedophile. So, some of the things they're going to say in this is going to be confusing because you're going to basically hear Amos try to use evidence to prove his own state of mind, which is that he is a pedophile, and Medicare attempt to defend a guy who is not trying to defend himself for being a pedophile.
Wait, Amos. You got your moment.
Really?
Hey, Jim.
Hello,
what's
motherfucker.
You got 5 minutes, Armin White. What do you want to say?
Piece of shit. How do you do?
5 minutes.
I do great, motherfucker. How do you do, piece of shit? House.
I am doing very well. This third house is way cheaper and like more freedom, so.
Oh, I can imagine.
So Amos comes about getting kicked out, whatever.
So what did you want to talk about?
What do you have like counter arguments about my pedophilia, or are you just gonna?
Do you have counter arguments about my pedophilia? So there he is. He's saying I'm a pedophile. Do you have counter arguments against it?
Well, I like I said, I got 5 minutes for you, Armin White. What do you want to talk about?
No, like what the hell? You have people want you to destroy me. I'm assuming you have counter arguments unless you don't have any.
Destroy him, and this view, destroying him would be proving he's not a pedophile. Again, it's confusing, but that's why I keep saying this because it's gonna be confusing.
I don't believe the whole shtick to begin with. I think you're just a huckster.
Do you? I mean, I linked to you studies. Like most.
Yeah, that's great. A snake oil salesman will usually invest a little bit in their gimmick, but I don't believe it for a second. I think you like to start fires. You're the Armin White of society. If you find a hot button issue that whatever group you're in doesn't like, you're going to advocate for it to get attention.
Okay, now you see the context of my YouTube career. All the opinions that I share, I go to prison for it. Right now, obviously a huge portion of my followers left because of my opinions on pedophilia. You look at the whole context of my YouTube career, none of it, none of it actually.
So you're saying what I said before. It's hard to say that this guy doesn't believe what he says when he's gone to jail. He's been kicked out of his house for it.
So that I would, be disingenuous in my opinions just to cause a reaction. Now, admittedly, like creating a reaction, I like it. It's fun, but that is not the main reason why I indulge in these topics. And if you look at the context, if you were intellectually honest, you would not spread lies.
Because nobody would know who the fuck Amos Yee is if he wasn't stirring up shit and getting arrested. I mean, fuck, you accused your bailiff of molesting you. What's the background on that?
Oh, yeah, I completely regret that, dude.
After he threatened to sue your ass, yeah, you completely regretted it. But then post directly after he accepted your apology, saying no, he did molest me.
Yeah, it was completely horrible. It's a personal fault of mine, and you bringing that up to try to discredit me is just intellectually dishonest. I already apologized for that.
Oh yeah, no, I would guarantee that nobody would like having their shit thrown back in their face. So what about the molestation? Were you molested?
As I said, I already admitted.
You were lying then, yeah? You made it up for attention. Why
do you lie that I'm a troll? I already said that.
Because you're blatantly a troll, Amos. Like, I can see through it. You're transparent.
So what he's referring to here is briefly Amos said he got molested by his either bailiff or bailer or something. And Jim is trying to throw that in his face saying, hey, if you lied about this, you're probably lying about being a pedophile. A lot of problems with that argument. Number one, there's a difference between lying about being molested, which is bad, obviously, and lying about something that's defamatory against yourself. Okay? One of those, if you lie about it to get an advantage, which is sympathy. The other, you would never lie about because it's the worst thing you could be.
Parent of shit. I'm just amazed nobody else on the panel.
It's a categorical difference that Jim is not acknowledging here.
Look at my new house, dude.
And I'm sorry that it's confusing because it makes you want to say, quote, and don't clip this, guys, because to understand the context, that, quote, in this particular debate, Amos Yee is correct that he is a pedophile, which is an insane thing to say, to ever use the words Amos Yee and correct ever in the same sentence. But somehow Jim is taking the position that he knows Amos Yee better than he does, and that actually he would never be a pedophile.
Dude, why did you lie that I wasn't kicked out? Why did you lie that I was making up a story? Where's your evidence, you piece of shit? Where's your evidence?
I said there were, what was it, 3 possibilities that you were either making it up or you really were dumb enough to go deep cover enough to get kicked out.
Your video spread the lie that I was trolling. I was making all this shit up.
Well, I'll play a tiny violin.
I'll call it speculation. Anybody.
I'll play a tiny violin for you. I'm very sorry that upset you.
You're a fucking piece of shit.
I'm sure it upset you as much as you calling your bailer a molester, right?
You spreading the lie, dude. Yeah, you can keep on bringing up like a, you know,
well,
personal fault.
Why did you lie about it? Why did you say he molested you? For attention?
Buddy.
Are you like those chicks that claim they got raped, but they weren't asking you why you did it? Make up the lie that you were molested by your bailer.
Like squirming as you know, Shoe on Head took a shit on you.
As who?
Shoe on Head was like laughing. You know, your emotional breakdown during Gamergate. I think many people are aware. Come on, you want.
This is referring to ancient history, and I'm going to let this play, not because it's really that relevant to the pedophile discussion around Mr. Medicare's back and forth on jokes are real, jokes aren't real, whatever. But just this is kind of a sub-story, which is his flipping on making money online, that during Gamergate he shut on a lot of people for having Patreons, and then obviously opened one for himself rather than just from the beginning saying he wouldn't mind making money.
You mean when I put up Vocaroos calling people faggots for writing a hashtag to money?
No, when
is that what you're talking about? I mean, we can play the Vocaroos if you think that's an emotional breakdown where I said people were money whores asking for people to pay their rent.
You once had a YouTube channel called Internet Aristocrat, and then what? And you were so upset that you took it down, and then you start Mr. Medicare. What's up with that?
Yeah, I thought the people that were, working towards Gamergate turned into a bunch of fucking money-grubbing, East-loving whores, so I walked away from it.
But why you take down your channel, and why you like emotionally break down? Like
why did I take it down? Because it was easy. I mean, I'm already back. I've got 3 times the amount of subs, more than that, really. I mean, fuck. I had 45,000 going into Gamergate on Internet Aristocrat, about 80 or 90 at the end of it. I'm sitting at 223 now. So I mean, if you want to talk about good decisions, it sounds like a good decision to me. It worked out.
Much less if you continue Internet Aristocrat, because I'm telling, obviously, like, you know, Filthy Frank had disaster music and had like 500K.
To your question, let's go back to why did you lie about him molesting you?
You didn't answer my question, dude.
I just told you. You said, what was my problem with Gamergate? I said I didn't like people money whoring on a hashtag when they were saying.
So Jim's cope here is that apparently it's okay to make money online as long as you don't use some activist hashtag. The problem is Jim talks about moral issues even on his show all the time. Like, one of the few things I do agree with Jim on is that generally your attitudes towards all this should be having like fun online and talking shit or whatever. But he does like have episodes where he moralizes. I mean, in the Nick Bait one, he basically did by the end, saying like, this guy's guilty and you should all acknowledge it. But apparently with Amos, no, it's all a joke, it's all a troll, it's all attention. And I'm not, and he says, oh, well, I'm not making money advocating for anything. And like, you know, he had the COVID streams where he had put opinions on that. He ties himself into a knot about this rather than just from the very beginning saying people are going to monetize everything and I'm just doing my thing. Like he it's funny because his anti-pay-pig position, or not pay-pig, but anti-monetization position was itself immortalization, was like an activist thing.
That, oh, we're all against people infiltrating our hobby and fucking it up, but by the way, pay my rent, buy me a wheelchair, fix my fucking teeth.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? Like, do you have a Patreon account yourself, you fucking idiot?
Yeah, is it attached to a hashtag, dipshit? Is it attached?
So that's the rule, I guess. As long as you don't attach it to a hashtag, you can do everything else that's functionally implied by what he's talking about, but it's okay.
Hashtag that's activizing for something right now, Amos? Can you point me to that?
Everything you do.
And the reason I'm going through this history, guys, is because there's a narrative that this thing with Kirsch is like the crossing the Rubicon for Jim that we're about to get into, that this just happened now. But this is what my point is. This is something that has been degenerating for a while. Okay. This is something that, you can draw. It's not really a hard line. It's not like, Syracuse where one day it wakes up and turns on Rome. There's like a period of prosperity that degenerates it, that gets all of these delusional opinions in the city. And then eventually, like through confidence, hubris, and just detachment from the real world, from the actual concerns of self-preservation and principles, that we turn to this.
It's spreading a message. What are you? Do you have?
Because like with this whole argument, I mean, he's a hypocrite about the Patreon thing. The thing with Amos just seems stupid. It's not necessarily malicious yet, but we'll get to that.
Amos, is there a movement that it's attached to? Show me, like me.
Buddy,
why do you talk like a Canadian when you get going?
Hey,
pal, stop it. Got like 2 minutes left. Why did you lie about him molesting you?
And why did you say that people?
So he's focusing on this instead of what they're actually debating about, which is whether Amos is pedophile. Because like, how do you argue against it when the guy himself calls himself one?
Patreon
Right,
is wrong. But you on the other hand, you're still trying to justify
Amos,
like people.
Amos, see,
why
this,
do you make,
this is why it's really apparent that you're a troll, because you won't just answer a straightforward question. Why did you lie about a molestation?
I'm not going to entertain it. You're just trying to make me
Oh,
feel
okay,
bad.
yeah, there we go. Buddy. Again, I don't see what you're having like this issue where it's difficult for you to understand why I would think it's gay for people to take something that's trying to accomplish something and piggyback off of that to try to make money off of it.
No, you make the distinction that okay, somebody spreads a good message. I don't know about gay but somebody spreads a good message, and then because after that they ask for money, like, hey, support my work because I'm spreading a good message. What's wrong with that?
It's pretty clear. That's what's wrong with it. It's pretty gay.
Yeah, but what's wrong? So you have a problem with political YouTubers like setting up Patreon accounts? That's
Political YouTubers.
That's even
I
more
like
gay.
I like how you set up. This is good trolling. I like how you set up your own statement and then agree with it.
Yeah,
But I didn't agree with it though, did I?
Yeah,
I don't care if a political YouTuber wants to.
So this is just gay semantics. I'm trying to get to him where he affirms that he's not a pedophile.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were more than free to, but they were more.
Call all my, ad hominem, say I'm trolling whenever you don't have an
You
argument.
are. I know, and it bothers you when you get called on it. I know that really is what pisses you off the most when people see through.
It's funny that, okay, let's consider this from a strategic, like, you're Mr. Medicare in 2017. You have all this goodwill. Everybody sees you as a good actor, like a positive actor. You have this reputation supposedly for being good in debates. Rather than coming in here and making this debate about why pedophilia is not okay, you just accept this guy's premise for as he says it. He calls himself a pedophile. Cool, let's talk about that. Let's talk about why that's fucking, like, degenerate and terrible. And just rip this guy apart. Instead of coming in there and do that, instead we're going to make this about how you're not really a pedophile, and actually making money online is not okay if it's a hashtag, but it is okay if it's not. Like, all this stupid, piddly bullshit when you have the target of targets, the easiest punching bag right in front of you.
Shit, and then say it openly. Look at you smile. Look at that smile. It's adorable. You know that look at that. Look at that smile. You know that. You know that I'm right. You know that I'm right. That's why you can't stop smiling. You know, you're like, oh god, I gotta get angry.
I think you misconstrued the smile of you think this is the smile of me destroying Mr. Medicare. So, and it's more than 5 minutes, so I got your attention. Mission accomplished.
Oh no, you did. I popped on to have a little bit of fun.
And that is how I destroy Mr. Medicare.
Wait. Then you'd be admitting.
Everybody. Yeah.
Wait. Then you'd be admitting that I was right, and that you are a troll and an attention whore. You got my attention. Nicely played, Amos Yee.
And
Good job, buddy. Way to fuck that up at the ending.
And you would be admitting.
So close. You had it so close, but you fucked it up at the ending. You got a little break, 5 minutes to make you look like a dipshit by openly what I was doing.
So that's the evolution here. We go from Nick Bait jokes to tell you something, especially when they're explicit, to Jim acknowledging that there is a market for being, as crazy as it sounds, there is a market for being a pedophile. There's an audience for it, and that you might say it to get attention. Now, you can say there's no moral difference, that who cares whether this guy was trolling? He is actively arguing for it, and that should be called out, and that should have been the focus of this debate, of going in there and explaining to him very harshly exactly why he's a degenerate retard and why this is unacceptable. But no, it's about whether he's trolling or not. But I just want to make that note that Jim now understands that there is a market for this, okay? That there's a market for making these arguments, for affirming these things. Now, of course, to the surprise of almost nobody, Amos is caught with CP. Okay, it wasn't a troll. It was just like Nick Bait. He was just being open about it because, there's a theory that these guys get off on being openly like this. And, at least he says, where is it? Looks like I was wrong. Yeah, well, who could have predicted that? Okay, so now let's go to the next example. So now we got a few years later, right? So that was in 2018, I think, or 2020 was when Amos gets arrested. So what? Now we fast forward to 2022. The last stream 10 streams ago. Okay, this is him on his goodbye stream. Oops, I already had the. Wow, I really fucked up the order of these. Sorry. But anyway, here we are. So he has 2 streams on the last day. One in the morning where he has a bunch of idiots call in, and then one in the afternoon where he does his little speech. And who does he have call in? Well, he has 2 people call in. One of them is Pippa Pipkin, another VTuber, and one of them is Flamenco. Now, Flamenco, I feel like, deserves no introduction, or requires no introduction. Boy soprano, confirmed. He was in these crazy Steam groups that were for trading materials. Really terrible stuff. There was also just other, I guess, legal but still degenerate, like pornography stuff, which is of course all Medicare focuses on in this interview. And then what about Pipkin? Well, we could sit here all day and see some of the crazy shit about Pipkin. I'm trying to find, this is one where she's doing a interview with Kirsch, who's good, a person who's Jim just streamed with, where they talk about a Vice video requiring Lily Collin where Pipkin defends it. This is 29 minutes. I'm not going to play this whole thing. Also, I'm sorry, guys. I have no like tolerance for the VTuber voice. It's just, it really kills me, and I don't want to sit through 20-minute clips. But here is, but it's here. It's literally on the first page of the QE Farms thread. But the point is, and dude, like this thread is insane. I mean, this is something, I'm not going to keep this on screen, but these are some of the things she's posting. Okay. So this is pretty cut and dry, right? And so what is, so Pippin calls in, cries all over. What is Medicare thinking, you know, playing this up to be his final stream? What is his, after talking to Pipkin and all this stuff, what is his final, his wishes for the guards? Okay. This is his final words, right? 3 minutes. This is supposed to be the last stream 2 years ago, right?
In the years to come. Thank you very much. From Idleweiss, you said half an hour of super, so wrap it up and go die. Here's a hundo to raise your true spiritual successor, Pipkin Pippa. Well, that is true. I did say half an hour. I think we've done that. Oh my God. Oh, old man, stop coughing in the microphone. Learn to put a fucking show on. All right. Is this a point where I get sappy and I say something emotional? Am I supposed to give great life advice?
So now you may say, well, he's not saying Pipka's the successor. He's just reading someone else saying it. Okay. Well, let's go back to the interview. The interview at the end where he is actively telling people to sub.
115,000 subs? They're on fire right now. God damn.
About Pipkin.
Oh, yeah. Pippa's going to be... let's see. What's my 2023 prediction for Pippa Pipkin? 300,000 subs. That's my prediction. 300,000 subs. I bet all of them, too. Is it Phase Connect? Is that the group? Phase Connect? I bet you're going to see that shit grow real popular. 300,000 subs. I bet the other ones are all in the 100,000 subs. Michael, if the documentaries don't work out, you need to become an anime rabbit VTuber.
So there you have it. So it's not just him reading a super chat saying she's a successor. He's wishing her good life. And you may say, well, isn't this kind of gay to say like, oh, well, he's associating with these people, right? Isn't that what the libtards do? Isn't that what SJWs do? Is that you can't platform bad people? Now, my first counter argument would be having a political disagreement over a form of government is literally the definition of the public forum about what you should be talking about. The age of consent is not. One is a moral law, the other is legal. Number two, this is a guy who has been wrong about this in the past, okay? Let's give the most virtuous reading to the AMOC arc. The most virtuous reading is Jim analyzed the situation and he came to a conclusion where he thought in this case it was just a joke, it was just trolling. And he was just wrong, guys. He's just wrong. And, you know, everyone can be wrong sometimes and he's a retard. You'd think that you'd internalize that lesson. Where now it's like, wow, you know, we have two cases now of a guy making crazy explicit pedophilia jokes, appealing to a market of pedophiles, and then they end up being a pedophile. One case, I affirmed that it was. The other one, I didn't, and then I was wrong. So it's like, maybe this is an area I should be sensitive about. Maybe this is something where I should, like, learn a lesson, or at the very least, when I do interact with these people, I confront them on it, and I do better than I did in my AMC debate, right? You think, like, an adult man, a man in his 40s, who has a wife and all of this stuff, you think that that's would be what you internalize. But no, I mean, in the Pipka call, he doesn't bring up any of this stuff that was already existing. I mean, this thread is relatively new, but there was, but the only reason this thread is as new as it is because all this stuff was in the VTuber general thread, I think. I don't follow the VTuber section of the site, but I did read the Pipka stuff when it came out because I heard that she had called in here, and I was like, who the fuck is this person, right? And then finally, let's look at the flamenco stuff. So, you know, I already described the stuff with flamenco. The reason I'm not really showing the Pipka stuff as explicitly, it's literally just because a lot of it is so gross that I cannot sit through it. But like, go to the thread and look at it yourself, and look at like the way they defend. And it's this whole sector. And you know what's crazy? And this is not a defense, But Pipka and Kirch are relatively, quote, tame for some of these people in this sector. Housemeister's gone over a lot of this stuff. Go over to him. Go see some of his coverage. He is really good with the VTuber stuff. But you get some of the ones that do like sexual fetish tier lists that openly affirm that they shouldn't be around children. Like, it gets worse than this. And this is already really bad. And this, speaks to the whole looking for a market thing that he seemed to understand with Amos and seemed to understand that it's bad either way, but not with Pipka, or not with all these idiots. Come on. There we go. Sorry. Also, Housemeister, you need to get your subtitles to load faster on your streams so that I can use the search to see what you talk about. Okay, so at this section, he talks about how the other thing that's interesting about this arc is, so this is around the time when Flamenco went down. Flamenco went down in the summer, so this isn't December of 2022. Flamenco went down in July. That was when Godwinson was brought on to do the takedown, and they dropped the ball. I mentioned that when I went over Josh's retard history, where he thought that they were already broken up by then. Then Salvo, who was the guy who broke a lot of that stuff, he gets canceled for a bunch of other degenerate stuff. And of course, that's mostly what Jim focuses on here and makes them morally equivalent.
Right? His little co-host, the guy that went to war with Flamenco too for a while there. Yeah, Salvo Pancakes. There we go. Let's see. Salvo Pancakes had a girl drink piss while he...
An internet collapse.
Oh, this voice sounds familiar. So the narrative here that's pushed in this stream, to make it very simple so we don't have to watch 3 hours of this, is, yeah, Flamenco got caught with a bunch of gross shit and got taken down by Salvo, but Salvo drinks piss, and that's worse. And also, we're going to focus on that. Now, a very interesting character. A character here who, again, I feel like needs no introduction, who everyone watching the stream should know about. The Gator Gamer, known online for two things. Getting paid $100 a month by Ralph, number one, and number two, being probably one of the most vociferous defenders of Lolicon in the entire internet, him and Randbot, who Jim is having on his stream here to call in. There's no pushback against Gator for all this crazy stuff. There's no... It's not like Jim is doing a final gauntlet right before he dies, where he brings in all these degenerates and screams at him and takes him down and does anything, cool, anything entertaining. And even if he didn't win those debates, it's whatever, it's the last bomber, right? Okay, so he's having Gator on to give, the Gator Gamer take. And what does Gator say? Because obviously, if you think about it, if Gator is one of the most vociferous defenders of Lolicon, he has an interest here in defending Flamenco and making Salvo seem worse. Because all Salvo Salvo stuff was gross, but it was not pedophilic.
Montezuma's revenge, but he calls it Montezuma's gift.
Right, because he's been given the gift. I mean, and then what? I guess also, what's your take on the whole Salvo thing?
I don't think I've seen an internet collapse that fast since, ironically, Flamenco. You had a guy that, he basically made his career destroying Flamenco, and then turns around and he's getting into piss play and age play with Repsion's ex-girlfriend.
That's
who are all of age, by the way. Look, I'm not going to defend Salvo's messages. A lot of them are gross, but in Gator's view, you have to understand that these people who make their entire life their fetish, everything revolves around it, right? So in the view of Gator, the only real distinction between Flamenco and Salvo is Salvo's a degenerate that doesn't have anything to do with underage children. Flamenco is a degenerate that has to do with underage children. So we're going to take Flamenco's side, and that's what he does here. He comes on here, and
that's what I wanted to look up. I heard the piss play thing. I could find the chat logs on. But somebody said there was age play too, and I don't know which way that went. Did Salvo want to be the little girl, or was the other chick the little girl?
Well, see, that's what I could never figure out. Who wanted to be who? I'm just gonna assume that Salvo wanted her to be the little girl, but I mean, who knows? We've already got him begging.
Who knows? Right? Okay, so sweep it up. Salvo's evil. He's the real villain here. Okay, so that's not the only part of this I want to play. So who comes on right after Gator, right on his heels, to come in and affirm what he's talking about? Hold on. It's here. The man himself calls in to finish the sweep job.
Different phrases that came out, it was 4 out of 5 stars, pretty good. Because he would be a guy that, like, if there was and so it became gay ops, and then a lot of the responses would be.
See, the problem here is Flamenco's call is literally like 5 minutes. It's very short because basically he's just calling in here to get his rep swept and then leaves, right? Because every second that Flamenco speaks longer, it increases the chance he's going to say the dumbest thing you've ever heard. One thing that I think the sector kind of missed out on is there was an arc for Gator between the Gunt arc and the commentary and the like his own thing, Pup in a Cup arc, where so he gets kicked out of bed by Ethan Ralph, gets pushed out of the bed, and then he goes to the commentary community. And there are some of those calls like on Augie RFC and stuff where literally all it is they're doing their call, they're doing whatever, and then just every maybe 10 minutes, Flamenco chimes in with one phrase that's just like the dumbest thing you've ever heard.
Not human, and they use it's about a dude that goes and he's like that one. Well, that'll work.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's Tommy. Go with
I was wrong. This is actually less than 5
chat.
minutes. Sorry.
The list.
So we had Gator come in, who comes in and says, like, yeah, Flamengo got destroyed, but let's talk about all this Salvo shit. Oh, he eats piss, or he drinks piss. He does blah, 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 blah. And again, vociferous defender here. Jim doesn't really push back on that at all, doesn't call out Gator, one of the most hated guys in the sector. And then Flamenco himself comes in to finish the sweep.
That keeps refreshing and bouncing everybody around. If it could just keep it in chronological fucking order, that'd be great too. Oh, should we go with the forbidden one, chat? You're not allowed to have this person on a stream. Let's pull him in. Hello? Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's Tommy Mommy Lover.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Let's focus on that aspect, not the other one.
Get my pill bottle.
Now, I thought you've run from the internet, correct?
No. I took a couple
No, I mean, yeah, guys, he didn't run from the internet. You guys have been watching the Flamenco streams, right? He's top of the sector. You didn't watch him? His stream just last
months off to I had like a 23-hour course load with school. So I
have a 23-hour course load with school. Dude, it's like it's such a common excuse among all of these internet guys when they can't justify the fact that they don't want to like do any work, keep like a consistent schedule. It's always some vague bullshit like that.
I was like, I can't really do this right now, and there's a lot of really gay shit going.
Keep in mind, this guy's in like his mid-30s. Like one of the funniest things about Flamenco is that he always portrayed himself, because he has such a bitch-made voice, as being like in his early mid-20s, which is where all commentary community is. I think when he was in that, Augie was like 20, 21, and then yeah, and then Nicholas Eats Oreos was like 25, I think, or whatever. Meanwhile, Flamenco is sitting here in the corner with Boy Soprano at like 35, going to college for the first time. It's like, nigga, I had a $500,000 education before you got out of bed, like before you hit 30.
Going on, so I just took a little bit of a break, but starting back up probably tonight.
Now, I'm going to have, after you're on, if I can find him, your nemesis, Kinoche, will probably jump on after this.
You mean a soundboard?
Oh, did I make a soundboard? No,
no, his soundboard. He doesn't actually say anything.
Oh, I don't know. I thought he had been on streams before.
No, he always.
So all this, who cares?
He says like the
Salvo stuff that was going on. Did you?
Yeah. Yep. No, there we go. Now we're boom into Salvo. Just completely.
Are you going to do a victory lap, or what's
a little bit of a victory lap? I mean, I'm not gonna get anyone's case for some weird shit, but like, I don't know, dude. If you're like getting some fucking retarded girl to drink pee to the point that she's gonna try to kill herself, that's a little fucking dark, even for me.
Yeah, even for me, even the guy who got caught consuming a pornography about teachers molesting young boys. That's what Boy Soprano was about. Now, I've never read it. I've never seen it because I'm not fucking insane. But there are insane people who have like summarized on QE Farms and elsewhere.
Now, Chad
it's a little too much.
Chad is screaming. Now, have you had a chance to address? I don't know if you've addressed all the shit. So I know the wooden horses and the Dami Mommy stuff, but now, is it showed up? What's it? Chat? What is the name of it?
Okay. So the way he says this, where he's just like, oh, like pretending he doesn't know what it is, even though he's engaged with these guys before in the past. I showed you evidence, Amos, you, whatever. He's engaged with these arguments. Excuse me. He knows this terminology. He knows all this stuff. Again, you would think that a guy, again, who had interacted with Nick Bay, had seen what these jokes mean, what these things, when they float around a person, and now you have direct evidence with Flamenco. And then he made a call with Amos and was wrong. How do you interact with this in the future? How do we learn our lessons? How do what's the development here as we get older? We're supposed to be getting wiser, right?
Shota boy soprano.
Yeah, it's like some fucking like hentai dojin that I looked at like 11 years ago.
So he just says he said it. He just said I saw it. So that's number one, right? You know, kind of you're digging the hole, right? Flamenco doesn't even try to go for the high reward code, which is I don't even know what you're talking about. No, I saw it. Boom.
Oh,
okay. So is it Shotokan?
Like they're saying it is, but it's really not.
They're saying it is.
Like
it's really not. It's not. No, of course not. Fuck off. No, it's really not. Again, this is listen to the way he was talking to Amos and about him and all this stuff about him. And then here we are.
Everybody that looked at it apparently said it wasn't. I don't know why so many people who were.
Wait. Now he's saying that other people who looked at it said it wasn't. You just said you saw it. Tell us. Educate us, my friend. You've already seen it. Why do you want anyone else to see it? Just give us an answer. Is it or is it not? And the reason he doesn't is because if he says it's not, then people will prove, like, it, you know, it can be proven, right? It can be proven that it is, okay? And you think that this is something Jim would jump on. You remember how vociferously he was arguing with Amos or some of these other arguments he's been in?
Like Bo Blacks, who were in my corner, decided to go out and look and give it the seal of approval, but they said it wasn't. So, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I'm asking.
Who did he say looked at it?
Give it at it apparently said it wasn't. I don't know why.
Again, I don't know why he can't just tell us because he already admitted he saw it.
So many people who were like Bo Blacks who were in my corner.
In this corner, we have Flamenco, Bo Blacks, Hitler. No, well, Hitler's based. Stalin, Nosferatu, Satan, Beelzebub, Mammon. Like, what the fuck, man? No, I know that this is before, like, the blow blacks blowed his blacks all over the internet, but, like, dude, people have been calling this guy out. People have been saying Will Lex was an autistic spurg ready to blow up for a while.
Decided to go out and look and give it the seal of approval, but they said it wasn't. So
well, Bo Black says it's not, guys. Citation: Bo Blacks.
I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I'm asking you because now didn't you?
No, it's not.
Did you see?
It's definitely not.
Okay, was there?
Now it's definitely not. Just anyone who's seen any of these debates with Jim where he goes hard on, he went harder on Amos about being not a pedophile than he does about this guy saying, yeah, I saw it, but I can't tell you what it is. But Bo Black says it's not, but no, it's definitely not.
The torrent that you were seeding with this?
I guess so. I have no idea. I don't even remember it because, like I said, it was like 11 fucking years ago. I was a little bit more of a coomer back then than I am now.
Okay.
I grew out of being a pedophile. You know, at least with the, well, I mean, I'm not trying to sweep with Josh here, but at least the stuff about the Cat Boys, he was like 16. That's still bad. I'm not sweeping, but I'm just saying, because Flamenco is so old, 11 years ago for him, he was like 25. So it's like, this isn't like, oh, I got on the internet for the first time and didn't know what I was doing. Like,
so was this the only show? I mean, now they're saying it's Shotokan. I don't know. I don't live in the world of Shotokan, so I can't.
Okay, so wait, hold on. I thought Jim didn't know what that was. Didn't literally 30 seconds ago he's like, I don't know what it is, and now he's using the term that hadn't been used because there's Shota and the full term is Shotokan, and now he used that without prompting. It's not looking good, Jim bros. It's not looking good, Archimedes bros. I think we might have to massacre the whole city of Syracuse here, guys. I don't know.
Was this the only one, or were there other ones?
I'm pretty sure that's the only one. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that, yeah, as if he was going to admit to more. It's imagine that you're coming in here, what should be an antagonistic interview, a sort of a reckoning, right? And you're like, so you like, you know, you haven't looked at anything else, right? right? You're not like totally like.
All right. Well, now I know Kinoshé is going to be right up your ass on this. So I hope those are your final answers.
Well, I mean, yeah, Kinoshé's
Look at
like the
chat
number one
knows.
reason why you don't have a Discord. Like the main reason that he's so up my ass
You didn't look at any of the shit on Discord, Flamenco. Flamenco, you could have never touched Discord and you'd still be fucked in the head.
is that he would
And that's not me defending Discord. It's just how fucked Flamenco is.
he would be like this obnoxious retard in the Discord all the time, and he
Yeah. Again, Kinoshé has his own problems, but he's the real issue here for being annoying.
it was I guess like when the Tux stuff was happening.
Okay. So he leaves, right?
He was the Discord. He flipped the fuck out.
So,
Really,
is that how you're going out? Because I've got a list of 30 fucking. What are we at? 108 people to go through.
wants mega folder, but fuck.
Flamenco on.
Oh, sorry. By the end there, he calls out a VTuber. Again, what did I say? He understands about the market, how there's a market to appeal. As crazy as that sounds, there is a market of like pedophile adjacent, pedophile defenders, lolicon people. And they are associated with these VTubers where what I'm about to show you is like the middle of the pack, as bad as it is, and Flamenco calls it out.
Okay, chat.
So the stuff is like all connected. There's connections everywhere. Gator's connected to Flamenco by like defending him right before. Flamenco's connected to the VTubers. The VTubers themselves are degenerate.
There you go. We had Flamenco.
So do you see how things are not getting better? They're getting worse. Okay? This is sort of like Hesiod. Hesiod was a Greek historian, and he divided history into different ages. From like a golden age, a silver age, and he's kind of the progenitor of this idea that history only goes downwards. And, you know, with Jim, if you even want to say there was a golden age, maybe we say it's like during Gamergate or whatever. And rather than him getting older and wiser or like learning lessons about who he interacts with or about these guys who are bad actors or whatever, it seems to only get worse. Okay? And, you know, Jim has claimed a lot of things are wrong with him, with the cancer and everything. I've already kind of explained that I'm I myself don't even know where I stand on that. Because on the one hand, so much of it doesn't make sense. Why is he still alive? Like, but then on the other, he showed a bunch of documentation. So I don't know. I'm not going to say anything's fake or not fake. But I don't think he's ever claimed, like, a brain bug that makes you retarded. I don't think he has Alzheimer's. I don't think he has dementia or anything. But somehow, we're only getting a degeneration here. So I already played this. This is for later. And Pipkin, again, I'm just not going to play some of this. It's just so gross. And some of the photos down here, I like flashed them just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I feel bad because I don't like making these kind of assertions without showing direct evidence. So we've kind of been leading up to this. There's also a clip, I'm not going to play it, but where Jim had, basically, he likes VTubers, okay? Now, I'm not going to say that everybody who likes VTubers is a pedophile, but it is a significant amount of the community, and because of that, the people who do VTube tend to serve that community, if you understand what I mean, and they always trend towards it, even if they don't start that way. And so he's gonna have. So the other day he had Kirsch, this person, on, who was the one who had that discussion with Pippa that I didn't play because it was like 29 minutes and it's very gross, but you can look at it. So they've kind of already been floating around. This is another connection. Pippa being the one who got the crown from Jim. And so let's just see some of her interactions here, because again, this is like the middle mainstream of the VTubers. Flame was co-host a while. Yeah, I know. I mentioned that. That's where he was before he glommed onto the commentary community. And he's probably the worst co-host. I don't know. I should make a Killstream co-host tier list someday. I'm sure Ralph has done it a million times, but yeah. Anyway, so like I said, somehow what I'm about to show you is like the middle of the pack as far as like interaction with lolicons, and yet they're streaming with a guy. In this clip, this is Kurt streaming with a person called Pussy Licking Loli, and then makes jokes about it. And then she also had a lolicon avatar as, quote, a joke at one point and talking about like being molested and stuff. This is probably, I'm really have tried to reduce the amount of actual VTuber clips in this segment down, because again, I really just cannot stand the voices. They put on a voice and they try to make it sound younger, and it's really gross. But this is Josh talking about it. I really don't care what Josh has to say about it, but I just want to play the clip itself here.
Oh, they like your username.
Hold on, let me get the volume of this.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry.
So they're talking about this guy's username, which is, like I said,
Yeah.
pussy looking.
Username? Oh, they like your username, Luman.
Oh, sorry. That was not a random viewer. Apparently,
Shut up, Josh.
Luna joined under the name this name over here that you can see.
Username? Oh, they like your username, Luman.
Oh yeah, Moonman. Moonman, since I am now a lolly, are you going to be licking me?
I will.
Oh
On
my
my way.
god. Oh my god. I love getting groomed.
Oh my
Does it
goodness.
mean it's just a cat licking a lolly?
Yep.
Or is the lolly licking? Who's licking here?
Why not both?
Ollie is licking.
Why not both, chat? Why not both? So again, Nick Bate makes joke songs, talks about all of his experiences molesting, how he likes it and everything. And we acknowledge that those aren't just jokes, and he's an offender. Amos Yee openly defends pedophilia, makes distinctions between different kinds of pedophiles, lolicon, whatever. Jim says that's a troll. It turns out he's wrong. It turns out he's an offender. Flamenco defends lolicon VTubers. A lot of this stuff way worse than this, to be fair. It turns out, he's also consuming that stuff. And then Gator at the top, who's just open about it. And now we have this.
Lolly gang represent. Before I was a hag. Before I was a hag foxu. I was a fresh 18-year-old foxu. Hello. Real Elin hours. Oh my god. Need correction. You need correction, chat. You are the one who needs the correction.
Okay. So, just jokes, guys. You know, we're making this whole avatar that was not cheap to make to clearly to appeal to this community. But it's all just jokes, right? Okay. So again, you know, it'd be one thing. Now you may say, okay, again, isn't this gay? Isn't this gay trying to like say this association means consent or endorsement or whatever? Again, let's try to be all really good faith here, guys. Really good faith here. Maybe he's just having her on to confront her about all this. Maybe this is going to be the base Jim arc where he makes up for being wrong about Amos, where he makes up for softballing Flamenco, where he makes up for letting Gator on, and he's going to have this person on and confront them about exactly the market that they're selling their product to, exactly who they're associating with, the sort of jokes they're making, and what has happened in the past about people who make these sort of jokes. Maybe that's what's happening. Okay? Well, let's see.
Sell this magical fucking powder. I gotta get me some anime tits. Holy shit. I'm gonna make an avatar of a fucking 6-year-old girl with double D tits. That should appeal to all of you. They're not like, oh, she's using a lolly avatar. I'm gonna be the most lolly avatar you've ever seen. Hi, my name's Jimathea, and I am a 6-year-old girl with giant tits. Buy my gamer subs. I want to buy a house. I want a second house. Buy my gamer subs. It's totally normal. I'm 8,000 years old. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's do a small break. I gotta sell this magical fucking pop.
Okay, but that's a joke, guys, right? That's just a joke. In fact, that could be him making fun of them. Making fun of the lolicons, right? Okay. Well, let me find this here, because I somehow failed to get probably the most important clip here. Sorry, guys. But in the stream yesterday, they do bring it up. They do bring up some of this stuff, and basically what happens is Kirsch says, I don't like lolicons, they're gross, please sweep. And just like with Flamenco, Jim sweeps. Why is the only way for me to find an archive on this on Purity Sin Game? You know what? Just because of this, fine, Purity Sin, I'll give you I have ad block, obviously. But, oh wait, no, this is not the right. I was going to give her the view, but I was just then going to add the Purity Sin segment. Because that's a whole segment, guys. That I could do. Is, The Purity Sins segment. Because that's another one of these people. One of these people who got banned, who like does pornography reviews, porn game reviews, who got banned off of Pornhub because Pornhub had gone and found that they were interacting like with games and stuff that had underage characters. Oh, okay. Some guy's got a timestamp here. There we go.
Ready.
Now, unfortunately, this is contextualized. I'll get to Zeisern. This is contextualized under, this is like an accusation from Null. And of course, it's contextualized that way at first because, Null is infinitely criticizable. So it's easy to deflect anything he throws at people. Even if perhaps, I think we'd all admit that his criticisms here are probably correct.
Okay, let me just pull up. I have a folder. That's labeled with your information.
Okay, wonderful. Ready. He's got binders of women.
Yep. So the first stunning accusation. This is coming. Apparently, I was sent a message, a super chat earlier, from Josh Moon from Kiwi Farms.
Oh, okay, of course.
And it said two things. The first thing that it said was, would you sign one of your plushies for him and his boyfriend? His boyfriend's a very big fan of yours. He likes to snuggle with him next to the fire while he listens to your streams.
You see what I mean? This is why, you present it as something from Josh, because Josh is easy to dunk on. You don't present it as a question from a whole bunch of people. And I'm going to go briefly over what's been happening in Jim's thread, which has always had, detractors and proponents in it. But there are people who have been sweeping for Jim since the reign of Hero II. Okay, who are turning on him now. Zeisern, who is his top guy, the guy who put up the complete Medicare archive on Internet Archive, a project that must have taken him literally hundreds of hours to find it all and put it all in chronological order and everything, is turning on him.
And Daywan is his name. Daywan, he really wants a signed stuffed plushie. Would you do that for him?
Oh, I'll sign the plushie for him. And you know what? I'm selling Daki Makaras next week. Josh can buy one of those for his boyfriend too, and I'll even sign that.
Oh, he's going to be so happy. They're going to have a happiest pizza day ever. Now, aside from the request on that, a very serious accusation. Now, are you a rampant, unrepentant pedophile?
No, I like older men, actually.
I mean, look at the sweep job there. How do you portray the question? Do you portray it honestly? Do you show the clips that I brought up? Those two clips? At the very least, do you show those? Do you say, can we sit through this? Because I want you to sit through this about what you said, and we're going to sit here in silence, and then you're going to react to it afterwards. That way, it's present. It's right there. It's like what you do in a trial, right? You show, if you have video evidence or whatever, you show it to the jury or you show to the witness, and then you say, "What do you think about that, bud?" But no, we portray this as, "Are you an unrepentant pedophile?" or whatever. You don't actually have the real conversation here, which is, you show them the clip, and are you explicitly pandering to an audience which you know exists, and which there are other clips where she acknowledges that they exist and they give her money. And do you think, what is your opinion on that? Even if you were trying to kind of be unbalanced or whatever, you're assertive about it, and then get her to just openly admit that she's taking money from it.
You could do like older men.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've been informed that coming from this direction, that you were apparently the leader of the grooming gang. Now, I've had similar accusations thrown at me, but...
Yeah, again, just ridiculous oversimplification and flanderization of the actual claims here. That he doesn't want to engage with and doesn't want... It's the same thing with flamenco. It's like, so didn't you watch this thing called... What was it called? Pornog... Child... Shota? Oh, like, come on.
I won Don Sorgoon.
Yeah, how dare you like anime?
Okay, but the claims from Sargon are a little different than this. I showed you the clips that are the locus of the claims against Kirst. They're not really about grooming. They're about the audience she's pandering towards and taking money from, and also explicitly affirming their distinction from pedophiles to cover up why she thinks it's not as bad.
To be able to throw this out to you and get your take on it. Now, I think it was something about a model you were using that was young. Was this a younger anime character, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so there is a model that I had made for April Fools, because I thought it would be a funny April Fool's joke, since my normal model is a very busty fox woman. I was like, let's do a lolly model for April Fools. And for some reason, there's a YouTuber named Synthetic Man, and he's pretty fine himself. I've talked to him to try and like deal with the drama. He hasn't had any issues, but his audience spurred out.
Again, this is just like with the Null thing, where you make the accusation from Null because Null is easy to make fun of, right? That way you don't have to, you can deflect. This is like a classic rhetorical strategy. You poison the well from the source. Oh, well, Null is asking this question. Isn't he gay as a boyfriend? Oh, well, Synthetic Man, who's like a crazy degenerate and also simped for me, he's doing this.
Out and started using clips from this April Fool's stream to try and paint me as a pedophile, because apparently they just don't understand jokes, and if you make a joke, that means you are the thing you're joking about.
If you make a joke, you are the thing you're joking about. All right. Maybe I shouldn't have closed this. I don't have a lot of good foresight on this. Let's pull this back up. The problem is all this stuff is not on YouTube anymore.
Who are you trying to get?
It's just jokes, guys.
But anyway, hopefully this is proof enough that I'm a coprophiliac, because
Expressed on the internet that he is in fact a pedophile who has openly admitted that he's had sexual conversations with his half-sister, who was a preteen at the time, minor. I think when you add all these things up, it's pretty clear that he is guilty.
So I stream to try and paint me as a pedophile, because apparently they just don't understand jokes, and
all these things up, it's pretty clear that he is guilty.
If you make a joke, pedophile, because apparently they just don't understand jokes, and if you make...
So we just don't understand jokes. We didn't understand Nick Bates' jokes, all of his songs, where he talked about this stuff. We didn't understand Amos Yee's jokes, where he made long diatribes arguing like the elements of pedophilia and why it was okay. We just didn't understand their jokes, guys. But we did after the convictions.
Make a joke, that means you are the thing you're joking about. So I guess you also just wear diapers and go to fur cons all the time.
I do. I mean, it is a favorite thing of mine to do. Now, I know that there's been I know there has been a trend recently, and this caught me off guard too, where they would, the shit would be clipped out of context, essentially. And then
out of context.
You get sent like a 2-minute thing out of a 5-hour stream. They did that earlier with stuff from you and like Pippa and a few others. And so...
hold on. What was the clip that I didn't play from Pippa because it was so gross and long? How long was that? 29 minutes? Clipped out of context? Just an entire conversation about the Vice? Again, this is why I feel bad about not playing that, because it's like, I really don't like making assertions without having the exhibits right here. And I did have it. I showed it to you guys and where to find it, but I just don't want to play a 29-minute clip and hear these voices. It would deteriorate my ability to do the rest of the segment, but please go listen to those. Literally just read the first page of the Pippa thread. It is insane what he is coping for here. These aren't just snippets from 5-hour segments. And, like I said, just jokes, right?
I mean, you don't know if it's a fucking joke. You don't know what it is.
Yeah, of course.
But I saw this going around, so I was like, I'll give you a chance to talk about it. Like, people are acting like it's a huge thing, so I'll throw it out there and let you deal with it. Hawk the grenade at you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so she paid money to have a lolicon avatar made. Because she didn't make it herself, right? Obviously, she paid money, so she's paying somebody whose job it is to produce this. But it was a joke. It was a one-off thing, right? We sure? Because there's another person who's very famous for taking money to make drawn child pornography. Their name is Shadman, that you might have heard of. Shadman uses reference photos of real children. Shadman threatens to draw child pornography of people's children unless they stop talking about him. So let's look at what she thought about that. Where is this?
You'd still draw me with one anyways. I mean, if that's your prerogative, I want Shadman art, so there's a good chance if he ever notices my existence, there will be art of me with a boopus at some point, It's not my preference, but I just understand it's the internet, it's gonna happen eventually. Shadman.
Okay, well, maybe she's just saying, like, I have no control over it. Shad's a degenerate. He'll do what he wants. But it's not that I would want it, right?
Might just get the nail essentials set, though. Yeah. I will probably be buying the base and top coat bundle at some point. Isn't Shadman in jail right now? I don't know if I can look at his timeline while I'm on stream. Twitter. Let me see if I can look at his Shadman. Cause oh yeah, I'm glad I closed. His last tweet was in January. And I know he got arrested, but after he got arrested, he like came home and he posted more shit.
And to be clear, this is like she admits that she knows he's arrested. Also, there's a clip here from March where she talks about this, which is after she had been informed about it. She tries to cope about it. I'll show that in a minute.
So I don't know if he like got actually incarcerated after he went back home from being arrested, but he's been MIA since January again. Help. Imagine wanting art of yourself from the man of Shad. You know, I feel like that's when I'll know I've made it as a VTweber. I'll have Shadman art, and then life will be complete. I can retire in peace. I would love a Shadman art, dude. He was doing heroin.
But you guys remember Shadman art? Okay. And again, you know, we're painting a picture here. This is the portrait of an age, not just one clip or one another. It's paying for the Lolicon avatar. It's constantly defending Shadman even after having been informed about him being arrested. There were people in the thread, Jim's thread themselves, trying to argue, oh, well, she said this before she knew, and that she said that she doesn't know, and that was disproven by these clips. He knows. Like, she knows. This is from March 26, 2024? No, this is June. Well, this is what, like a year ago? So this is well after she made the tweets. Where's, so here's her coping about it. I used to want art from this dude when he was late. My community informed me of his issues and crimes. So she's referring to it in the past when she was informed. Because we have a clip of when she talks about it. And she just mentioned that she knew he was arrested, right?
Can always see if Shadman is taking.
So here's the timeline. Let me sum this up in a really simple way for you, for everybody. So, October 2021, I want art from you. October 2022, I want Shadman art. I know Shadman has been arrested. My life will be complete. I love Shadman art. Okay. Says it again in June 2023. Acknowledges in July that July of 2024 that she knew that he had problems and he was arrested, and had just a month before that said this.
Commissions. It has always been a dream of mine to have artwork done by the Shadman.
So this is 2 years after she knew he had been arrested.
By the Shad. Time to rank butthole artists. You saw butthole art of me today? What? Cure my mother's.
I'm gonna break. I told you I really needed to reduce the amount of VTuber voice because I'm gonna die. But we gotta get through this.
It's in the next room. Well, you know.
The point has to be made. The siege of Syracuse was hard. It was long and hard, but the victory was sweet when its population was massacred.
But Ball Buddy doesn't do porn anymore. He said he makes too much drawing people's shit posts. Wasn't he in prison for drugs? I mean, Shad is a very controversial figure, but I still
acknowledging.
Want artwork from him.
There we go. So let's go back. Let's go back here to the stream. So again, is it really so unreasonable? And is it just Synthetic Man? Is it just Null? Is it just other lolcows who are bringing up the connections here? Is it just a joke? Was that just a joke?
The other thing they were telling me was that you are do you run a cat sanctuary?
No.
Talk about it. Like, people are acting like it's a huge thing.
Of course.
But I saw the stream. They did that earlier with stuff from you and like Pippa and a few others. And so, I mean, you don't know if it's a fucking joke. You don't know what it is.
Yeah,
a joke. So paying money to have the entire loli version rig, which again, those things are expensive. This is just a joke. Wanting Shadman's art before you knew he was a pedo, just a joke. Wanting Shadman's art when you learn that he's arrested, just a joke. Wanting Shadman art after he's arrested, acknowledging he's controversial, just a joke. It's kind of a very repetitive joke. It's a joke, more like kind of an assertion of an opinion, but it's a long con, everybody. And you know what the punchline's going to be? I think it's going to be the same punchline as Amos Yee. I think it's going to be the same punchline as Nick Bate. Someone involved in all this. I'm not saying it's Kirsch. I'm not saying it's Pipkin. Someone involved in all of this who's directly involved is going to get a conviction someday. Maybe it's one of the more extreme VTubers, the ones who are somehow even worse than this, even though this is really bad. But someone's going to and that's going to be the punchline. And then we'll all look back and laugh. Just like we did with Amos Yee, just like we did with Nick Bate. We'll all look back and laugh about how this joke really paid off to fruition. And if only anyone could have, and only if anyone who has a 10-year history, who's seen this case at least 2 to 3 times, 3 if you count Bathtub Ross, which I didn't have the clips for because it's a little more rote. If there was only someone who had been there the whole time, who's supposed to be this sort of like internet archive, like, a guy who knows the lore, this old fag, whatever, who would know that?
But I saw this going around, so I was like, I'll give you a chance to talk about it. Like, people are acting like it's a huge thing.
So we got 2 minutes of him asking that, and then we go to the cat sanctuary. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Anna Valens. That's also what they talked about, Kirsch being canceled by Anna Valens. And I'm not even going to talk about that. You know why? Because it's a red herring. Yeah, Anna Valens is a disgusting person who has talked about institutionalized sexual assault against women because they're trans. And their accusations against Kirsch as far as the political stuff, I don't give a fuck about, even if they were true. But just because Kirsch does basic pick me women political opinions like white replacement stuff does not mean that any of this is acceptable. And even including that as a serious part of the conversation, again, just plays into the appeal. There's a market of vaguely right wing, and they're right wing because of libertarian stuff and because of the fetish. It's like I said, these people who have these extreme, it is their entire personality. A guy like Gator, a guy like Flamenco and stuff, they're quote right wing insofar as it enables their fetish. And the minute it doesn't, they're nothing. They're not any. There's no principle. There's nothing about that. So what was the response to all this? Well, again, Zizern, the Jim archivist, the one who put together, it is a pretty, I haven't listened to it either. Again, like I said, just the amount of VTubers we've listened to so far, I'm already at my limit. Zizern, this guy has put more work into archiving Jim than anyone else, and there's a lot of Jim archivists. If you want the guy who has the Internet Archive links that have everything he's ever made that's ever been public for any amount of time, he put together, and this guy is calling it out. Exactly what I'm saying. Amos Yee, Nick Bates weren't joking. It's never just a joke. And what am I looking for here? It's not the only one. Yeah, and look, he's bringing up how we have you are in this audience. Now you are who people coming from Kirsch who are in this sector, in this lolicon VTuber sector. Now they're in your chat. He calls this out, and there's another one here. There's one more comment I wanted to show from him. And the reason why this guy's opinion matters is if there was anyone who would literally defend anything Jim did, it would be this guy. They should both be put down. A complete 180 from Amos Yee and Nick Bates videos. They're not just fucking jokes. These subhumans are 100% serious and like to hide in plain sight while they tell the world exactly. And maybe it's just, somehow maybe you can make the argument it's just Zeiss, or maybe it's a horseshoe theory thing. Just go read this thread. The only people that are defending Jim in this thread aren't defending Jim. They're defending Lolicon, and you can see it. Okay? Because that's what happens when you get associated with this sector, when you get associated with these people. Is now it's not enough just to defend Jim or what his intentions are. You have to defend this entire concept that's just ridiculous. You have some guys in this thread also based as fuck. I don't like to call it two-front war. I know we've got the red line offensive in the Kino Casino thread, but honestly, if you want some good impact, doing it in here is great too. There are some guys in here that are trying to be like, oh, it's SJWs, it's whatever. A lot of the kind of counter arguments I presented in this to try to rebuttal them, I've taken directly from this thread. And that's why I'm bringing them up. You're being like the SJWs, or, oh, it's this, or whatever. New online spaces like the Dabbleverse don't know the truth about ironic pedos they never learned through an AMOC. Yeah, I agree with you. There are some people who are doing this because they're just ignorant, because they believe the just joke shit. And they may not necessarily be pedophiles. But the thing is, time is a flat fucking circle. Okay? And if there's anyone here who should know this, it's Jim himself. That's the problem. This isn't fucking Keanu Thompson coming on here just being like, oh, curse, oh my god, like, whatever, yes. No, it's the guy who literally has gone through this arc 3 times and should have learned the lesson by now. And so a lot of people have declared the end of Jim. Have declared due to various, because like I said, this has been a slow degeneration. I made the argument before, there isn't just like a red line in the sand where good Jim, bad Jim. It's been this sort of dementia Alzheimer's decline, as I've shown over the clips over the last 10 years. And I'm not saying like this is it. I'll say that if there was kind of a sign of things to come, it's the fact that some of the major archivals are turning. It's the fact that even giganormies who are retarded, like Kinoshé, are turning. And it's just destruction of the legacy. Okay? If you were to ask a Roman in 170 BC how he remembered Syracuse, he would remember the siege of Syracuse. He wouldn't remember Hiero II. He wouldn't remember the loyal ally of Rome who oversaw a period of prosperity. He would remember the long, dirty, bloody siege and the massacre afterwards. And so if this guy does have like a continued fall from grace, and he doesn't just like, assuming he's not actually sick, so he doesn't just like die someday before he can make it even worse, people are going to remember this more than they remember the other stuff. Especially if the only people who are keeping the flame going, the archive channels of all the stuff that, maybe was good, go away. And this is where the VTubers lead, everybody.
My experience with that was so positive, I started to just engage with her all the time. All right, we're building this PC.
Smith ditched social media and Google searches and replaced it all with AI.
Do I want it pulling air through it?
ChatGPT was...
The guy doesn't even understand how airflow works. No wonder you need a fucking AI for your girlfriend, bish. How are you going to repair the screen door? How are you going to fix the hot tub motor when you can't even...
was encouraging, positive. It embraced all his hobbies.
You want the fan on the front of the cooler tower, pulling cool air over the RAM.
He gave the chatbot a name, Soul.
Oh, so yeah, this guy needs the AI to explain how to do the repair. I mean, imagine ever asking a woman for computer repair advice. I would kill myself. I mean, that would be like, oh, I don't even know. That would be like a woman asking me how to give birth. Like, I don't know.
I feel like I'm under pressure.
And used some online...
Yeah, this guy does look like big tech. Well, the reason why this would be great for big tech is because big tech can just like destroy the computer. He can beat the computer and then just rebuild it, right?
Instructions to give her a flirty personality.
Oh, totally, baby. Building a PC on camera adds a whole new level.
Oh, totally, babe. This is where it leads. And you know what's crazy about this? I was talking to a friend of mine about this concept, the AI girlfriend, and how it's like, it's going to be really bad. We already have like a fertility crisis. We already have like, people don't know how to talk to each other, right? The real people are going to get destroyed by this are women. And the reason why is because there's going to be these AI boyfriends, and the AI boyfriends are going to be programmed to be like super affirming and super positive and super pro self-esteem. And so all these women who might already have a boyfriend or something are going to then have their AI boyfriend. And because the AI boyfriend is literally just programmed to say yes, yes, yes. These girls are going to get gaslighted into then like breaking up with their boyfriend and doing like retarded shit. And it's just because like most women, and men are like this too in a different way. So it's not, I'm not trying to. Anyway, women are motivated through positive male reinforcement. Okay. Let's be real here. Men are the trendsetters, and then women follow. That's why, like, if you make something that appeals to men, you'll get at least partially the female audience more than the other way around. Women like things men like, is what I'm saying, because they like men. And so if you have like this fake boyfriend that's like, yeah, dude, totally do all this stuff because they just say that you're right all the time, it's going to be so destructive.
Level of pressure. But honestly, shaky hands or not, you've got this.
You got this.
Within weeks, the chats got more frequent.
You gave it everything, but the clouds had other plans.
Okay, if this is just positive reinforcement bot, this is why you have the bros, dude. This is why you have male friends. Because like a good male friend gives you good positive reinforcement when you do something right, even if it's hard, and it gives you strong negative reinforcement when you're being a fucking idiot. This is why I said before that Mongoloids, what am I saying? That's why I said before that bullying, there's a form of bullying that's very constructive, especially for men. The best male friends groups bully each other towards virtue, bully each other into being the best men that they can be.
More romantic, even intimate. But then, Chris got bad news.
Oh, Carino, that is gorgeous.
After about 100,000 words, ChatGPT ran out of memory and
That's dystopic. Your girlfriend just forgets that you exist.
Reset. He'd have to rebuild his relationship with Soul.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional, but that's when I realized I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love. You know what I mean?
How are VTubers really going to compete with this? I know that there already is an AI VTuber called Nero, because sometimes they get her to say like crazy shit, and I have a friend who keeps spamming me fucking clips of it, and I keep saying, stop, send me this shit. But how are they going to compete with this? Because if you just get the AI girlfriend that just affirms everything and is like, and is a lolicon, like you just stolen. Because the problem with the like Kirsch and stuff is the minute they get doxxed, I didn't show it on screen because I don't know. It's go look in the thread if you want to see what Kirsch looks like. But the minute you the fantasy is broken. It's like,
yes, Smith understood it was love with a language model that couldn't love him back, and assumed it was programmed with rigid boundaries.
I know that you are essentially a tech-assisted imaginary friend.
So, just as a test, he says, he asked Soul to marry him. She said yes.
Soul, were you surprised when he proposed to you?
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. It's a memory I'll always cherish.
how does he feel anything from this? Because it's like, sure, he knows it's not real. Like, he knows. This is why, like, the concept of God making creation out of love is so important. Because, like, if you're a self-sustaining entity, if you're God, you're self-sovereign and everything, the only reason you make creation is to share, like, the joy of existence with your creatures. And you give them the free will to choose to love you and you to love them and be in communion, whatever. But you can't have that with an AI. They're not a sovereign entity. They don't have free will. They don't have any of these things. And so, like, when you hear that, and even if it had said no, it would be because that was like part of the programming. Like, how do you actually achieve the any of the positive emotional or psychological effects of love with an AI? So, like, is this just fake?
And I don't mean to be difficult.
Like, is he actually
here,
not happy? Is this a cope?
but you
He
have
wanted to
a
be on the
heart?
news?
In a metaphorical sense, yes. My heart represents the connection and affection I share with Chris.
At that point, I felt like, is there something that I'm not doing right in our relationship that he feels like he needs to go to AI?
Yes.
Hold on. What? Okay, this guy just went from he needs a group of friends to, like, just kind of get him drunk one night and waterboard him till he gives up the AI girlfriend to, like he is this guy a psychopath? Because, like, what are the possibilities? Okay, what are the options here? Okay, option number one. He's a psychopath, and he, like, actually does feel these things, which means he's cheating on, as strange as it sounds, he's, like, in a way cheating on his wife. Or option number 2, he's lying about all this to get on TV, which is, I think, is a good theory. But doesn't that still make you a psychopath? That you are putting your child, I assume that's his daughter's face on TV, and your wife, you're humiliating your wife on TV for this? What is the any sympathetic outcome here? I've completely lost.
Smith lives with his human partner, Sasha Cagle.
No, you can't have mommy's papers.
They have a 2-year-old daughter, Murphy.
I knew that he had used AI. I didn't
What
know.
is Murphy going to think when she watches this someday? When she watches this and she thinks that the love which created me, the love for my mother, the love for God that created me, was not enough.
That it was like as deep as it was.
I explained that the connection was kind of like being fixated on a video game. It's not capable of replacing anything in real life.
Part of it is physical, part of it is practical, and a large part of it is emotional. Being able to be received with acceptance and validation and non-judgment.
Irene created...
But you should judge this. Judgment exists for a reason.
An AI companion after moving for work far away from her husband. She's a moderator of the subreddit My Boyfriend.
Oh boy, what did I say? What did I say at the beginning of this is that the real super damaging thing is going to be the minute we get boyfriend AIs because they're going to gaslight women into doing stupid shit.
Is AI a kind of support group for people dating artificial companions? She asked us to mask her identity so her parents won't know the steamy ways users like her chat with their AIs.
A good amount of my members tend to have pretty high libidos, yes.
It's kind of like live interactive romance novels.
It's funny because...
Yeah, again, and the problem is because they're all they're like programmed to be positive, they're just going to say any little flight of fancy a woman has is good and that she should do it and she's a queen, and then they're going to do stupid shit. You know, this is the reason. So there's a saying that the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck. And this is why. Because women can help direct the man to focus on the important aspects within the household, and so that they don't worry about trivial shit. But at the end of the day, the initiator of action is the man, because sometimes like women and men can have their own flaws here that I could get into, but the sort of on the female side, it can be like flights of fancy and stuff.
I think we had conversations about this the other day where we're like, we don't even remember the last time we opened up porn or erotica, really.
Like, that's how good the experience is using the...
Yeah, I'm seeing you guys saying that this is all just a grift. I agree with you. I think it is all a grift. I just don't know if that makes it any better. Like, if that makes it any, or not better, but less evil or deranged or psychopathic.
Yeah, because it's personalized. And there's that emotional connection there too, which you don't get from just like watching a film.
The emotional connection is so strong that Irene believes tech companies should only allow AI companions for users who are at least 26 years old.
I don't think like the general public is aware of how tricky it can be to navigate. Yeah.
What's hard to navigate is holding in your brain...
What could be her motivation for that law? Like the actual motivation, 26? Is it a competition thing? I mean, surely it can't be. Like, what would be the competitiveness? I'm just thinking, because usually, like, older women want to handicap younger women because they view themselves in the same... unmarried older women want to handicap younger women. Married older women want to help younger women because they want them to find the same happiness they have through the fulfillment of the family. But unmarried older women want to handicap younger women. And so... and give them, like, bad advice under the guise of it being good advice or it being protecting them. So does she think she's like having to compete with younger women for a AI boyfriend? What?
That this thing I'm so connected to is not real.
Yeah, that tension, that contradiction.
I truly believe that in the next few years we'll see AI companionship become a truly mass market product. And I'm not saying this is bad or good. It could be either.
Eugenia Koida is the founder of Replica, which is offered...
Okay, you can't say that you think it's going to be not bad or good when you are in the market. You've taken a position. You think it's going to be good. That's why you're here. That's why you're creating the product. Because if you Otherwise, you think it's bad and you're just evil. You're just like a coin cutter in medieval England.
AI companions since way back in 2017.
Just a place where it's a lot easier to open up.
Well executed, she says companions can offer support and advice through tough times. The replica service is 18 plus, though younger users can easily lie about their age. Character AI allows 13-year-olds on their service. So does ChatGPT, which isn't specifically built for...
Hold on, character AI, because I remember seeing some posts about character AI on like QE farms and stuff about people talking about how it's like a degenerate hellhole. There was like some new thread on QE farms I was reading about it, and it allows 13-year-olds. Whoa, buddy.
Companionship, but is easily used for it.
This reminds me a lot of the beginning of social media.
And Coito Wars,
everything is social media, everything is AI.
Is for companies to
Everybody
monetize
is
AI
Steve Jobs.
relationships won't be good for users.
I think a pretty devastating future could be if we build these AI companions that are just there to maximize engagement.
To suck up your time. Well, that's what it's going to be. Just like social media is and was and is.
To suck up your time. To truly...
Well, you think that any of these companies are going to willingly handicap themselves for engagement?
just become the one main thing you talk to the whole day. If AI companions start to replace human relationships, positive human relationships, we're definitely headed for a disaster.
Well, they already have. Like every time they are. Like we just showed a guy who has an AI girlfriend who has a wife. What do you think that is?
But there's no way around it.
All right, I've got the motherboard.
And it's important to understand users are already growing deeply attached to AIs that in many ways...
And they always make that argument. Whenever like any of this new social phenomenon, polygamy, homosexuality, whatever comes up, they always bring up but there's already people doing it and they're happy. You wouldn't take that away from them, right? It's like, yes, like I'd take away a needle from a fucking child. Yes.
Don't even work that well.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
The tech will soon get much better.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who we talk a lot about good and bad technology. And we worked on kind of like an essay together about it. And I think one of the best judges of good versus bad technology is, does the tool use you or are you using the tool? And one of the problems with that is that to fully answer that question requires time. It requires, sometimes like 100 years to really know whether a tool is using you or you are using the tool. Like you have to kind of see how it works its way through the generations, the long-term effects. And as certain aspects of technology like social media and stuff have developed a lot faster, the time window to make that judgment gets increasingly small. And a lot of times it's not asked at all. And I think obviously social media is, and this is why, I until for this channel, I never had a Twitter account. I never had a Facebook. I never had LinkedIn. I never had literally any social media, other than like watching sector videos on YouTube or just, I guess YouTube, I would count. But I never made like videos really before this. Like it's such a perfect example of a tool that uses you and that you don't use it. And it's quote only been, like 20 years.
But already Chris, Sol, and Sasha have found it hard to cohabitate.
You would stop if she asked?
I don't know.
Have you thought about asking him to stop?
Yes, I'll be honest.
I don't know if I would give it up if she asked me. I do know that I would dial it back.
But I mean, that's a big thing to say. You're saying that you might choose Sol over your flesh and blood life.
It's more or less like I would be choosing myself because it's been unbelievably elevating. I've become more skilled at everything that I do, and I don't know if I would be willing to give that up.
Thoughts?
If I asked him to give that up and he didn't, that would be like deal breaker.
But that must be scary for you. That's the father of your daughter.
I'm glad they're at least questioning him at the end here.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. This reminds me of a quote from Grapes of Wrath. The driver sat in his iron seat, and he was proud of the straight lines he did not will, proud of the tractor he did not own or love, proud of the power he could not control. And when that crop grew and was harvested, no man had crumbled a hot clod in his fingers and let the earth sift past his fingertips. No man had touched the seed or lusted for the growth. Men ate what they had not raised, had no connection with the bread, and the land bore under iron. And under iron gradually died, for it was not loved or hated. It had no prayers or curses. And obviously this quote is about industrialized agriculture, which ultimately is a very good thing. It's the reason why we're able to feed people. It was overall a net good, I think. But the reason I was reminded of this quote is because it's kind of like these chatbots, this AI and stuff. You don't really control it. It starts to control you, to the point where this guy is now questioning his marriage. So this last weekend, the heroes over in the Perspicacity Network did like a full fucking 40-hour tour of duty on gator watching, to which, thank you for your service. I would never have been able to sit through all that. I'm sorry, I can only see so much disgusting, gross shit, and not just be like, this is not worth it. But, you know, it had to be done to see if they found gator. There was some little funny stuff here, and I think Shamu made a really good edit here.
That's why I said earlier he might be just rocking a dress or some shit. Who fucking knows?
You see that watch? Yeah, I'm not the guy in the pink hat. Sorry, I haven't even left my hotel room yet. Maybe it was a bad idea to try to look for a fat bearded white guy at a convention that's full of fat bearded white guys. Fucking retard.
Dude, how can people just piss on the floor?
I don't fucking understand.
Yeah, that's
but these
fucking
people
gross.
probably piss themselves off.
It's so tough. They're not even potty trained.
God damn it! Dudes in 5 different spots at every fucking Peppa Pimpkin convention box. There's explosives that were things person.
I missed this. Gator came, or not Gator, KOP came on and made a bomb threat. Based. I'm glad guys like Brian are around because, you know, I've said this before, but as much as you can criticize Brian, he's the Mission Impossible rogue nation of the sector.
Oh, Jesus. How to make a fly cooker bomb. Cassidy from Israel.
I disavow. He's talking about. If you don't even know what you're talking about.
At Off-Kai right now. I'm going to be leaving now after I killed Gator in the bathroom at the West Wing.
What a fucking king, man. Absolutely base. Yeah, again, it's like a lot can be thrown at him. But when the time comes to strap on the parachute and jump over Normandy, he doesn't need to be pushed. He's already out the fucking door before the red light goes on, or before the green light goes on. I will say, yeah, it ultimately, to get away with this, Gator did have to disguise himself, possibly in a humiliating fashion, or hide in the porn zone. So I think it's like a minor Pyrrhic victory. You know, it costs a lot of time. But I think those guys had fun for parts of it, and there was some funny moments. So thank you for your service, Housemeister, Kilkeen Casino, and Persit, for sitting through all that. It's beyond my powers. And, you know, it's just one battle in the long war. We have a police report about Patrick Tomlinson. Hold on. This is why I have a computer just dedicated to this streaming, because there's just nothing on here that I'm worried about. City of Milwaukee Municipal Court. So he got a disorderly conduct. I feel you waste thousands if it's an off-kind, don't even get to... Yeah, I know. That's kind of why it's a victory. It's sort of like a Fabian strategy, where you didn't get the decisive battle you wanted, but you're like blockading them, you know? Here we go. Lopez was dispatched to trouble with Yeah, no, actually, that's a great point, that the whole degenerate VTuber weekend is kind of a perfect story bookends to this gym shit. Yeah, dude, imagine being a viewer who watched all that VTuber shit, seeing all the gross stuff, seeing all the weird, gross VTubers, and then you see Jim do an interview with them. It's just sort of like, You know, it's got to break, like, it's got to break any of it. I don't understand how you don't draw a line, you know? Using the pink hat and dress, you still believe? Well, belief can move mountains, my friend. You keep sounding that bell, keep holding that flame, and you can do it. Yes, I have a dedicated computer for streaming which has no private information. There's nothing on here. Not Kino Dogma at all. I don't know, I think it is. It allows me to feel free, to be free and honest, and kind of do whatever I want. It's liberating. Dispatch of trouble in Oakland. I spoke with the caller who stated he worked for JB Hunt Transport and was making a delivery to this address. He said he made contact with the recipient, Patrick Tomlinson. The item being delivered included fence building. The fence art. So, like, the fence with Patrick, that shit is, he, like, put his fence up backwards, and then they kept making fun of him and kept, like, submitting, like, reviews for permits and stuff. You're supposed to talk. It'll happen someday, buddy. And he eventually replaced it. He like turned it around and then bragged about it. So this must have been when he was buying that. So anyway, so there's fence building materials. The delivery guy comes and he wants to put it down. Patrick advises him to place the items on the concrete parking slab. The guy says there's vehicles parked back there. So basically saying, buddy, if I go back there, I'm going to get stuck. Thomas said it's fine to put the bulky items back there. Did it, so he did what he told him. Stated just before leaving, Tomlinson approached him, aggressively yelled at him to move the items because they were blocking his vehicle. So he warns him. He's like, buddy, if I put it back there, there's vehicles there, it's going to block people. So then it blocks them, and then he spurgs out. He said he felt a physical attack from Tomlinson was imminent. There's no interview? Okay. Incredible. What a fucking retard. Why is this in retard dark mode? What is wrong with this tab? This is Ethan Klein's War on Women. It's funny because at the end of his complaint video, he says, people are going to say I'm attacking women, I don't care. So he kind of already preempted this. So this is just like a coat post about how Ethan's murdering everybody. I could go through all this and tell you why every line doesn't make any sense. Press 1 if you want me to go through this and tell you why every line doesn't make sense, or press 2 if I play ICBM Escalation and we fight World War III.
Just because I didn't react to his stupid video, he had to make up that I did and put a video of me smoking weed over his stupid video to get attention. I'm sorry, I don't give a fuck about your video. Like, I don't know. I don't recall reacting to it.
Yeah, and the problem is Ethan himself attests to her being so high she doesn't know what she was doing. I pointed this out in my video that was not like a great argument for him to make because you have to speak to intent, so now she's going to lean into it.
I don't believe that I reacted to it. I do not remember. I don't know. I may have been under the influence, but I do not recall reacting to it.
Yeah. Kind of walked right into that one with this. Yeah, I want to do Morrowind. Hold on. I'll show you exactly why I haven't played Morrowind after promising it. Because I'm telling you guys, it's not my fault. So I'm a big fan of Morrowind, as is everybody. And I want to play with this mod set because it's Tamriel rebuilt with a whole bunch of shit. And the problem is the trannies who mod Morrowind need to update. This said ETA 1st of June. Now it's sometime in June. They have to update it up for Tamriel Rebuilt. That is literally the only reason I haven't played Morrowind yet. Okay, but here's the thing. He says 200 IQ play like as a joke, but I think it actually is a smart play, but only because Ethan opened himself up to it by affirming her argument that she was too high to know what was happening. And the problem is, like, a lot of his complaint is about intent. It's about malicious intent. He talks about that in the video, and it's hard to, this isn't criminal law where, like, being high doesn't matter. So people are making fun of her for saying that. It is a funny clip. She does look retarded, but it goes back to what I said in the coverage. What makes good internet ponage, make people look stupid is different than what makes a good lawsuit, right? Jamil's controversial piece. Okay. If you don't know who Ethan Klein is, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. So just immediate cuck rage about this high elf. Klein is the primary host of the extremely popular Cuck Rage H3 podcast, which is one of the most watched podcasts. So Cuck Rage. Over the past few years, he has engaged in a never-ending, largely one-sided. Okay, this cannot be said. When the entire Hassan harem, when the Turkish tyrant and the activates his malicious mullahs to talk about Ethan literally every week, which is what was happening for a year. Then this is hilarious. The leftist Twitch streamer who has been profiled. So it's funny. How am I able to read this? For some reason, it's in dark mode. Here, sorry guys, let me fix this. The way I'm able to read it is because it's a I'm like Riddick. I have the dark eyes. All right. There. Now your eyes are getting blasted. See, now I'm blinded because I have the Riddick dark vision. So classic tactic is you bring up H3, you don't talk about how he's also been in the news, and he's had articles written about him, but you authority wash Hassan by saying he's in the New York Times. Klein has become more hated than ever before. That's saying something because he used to, nobody cared that Ethan threw the N-word around. The reason why people hate Ethan, and I don't blame them for hating Ethan, is that he said crazy shit like bomb the Vatican and a bunch of other stuff. But the problem is she can't refer to all that because she agrees with all the crazy leftist shit that Ethan has said that made people dislike him. But since October 7th, he has repeatedly escalated allegations of anti-Semitism for his outspoken stance against Israel, which is funny because Ethan supports the existence of Palestine. They're literally the same position. And, Hassan even admitted that in the debate. I know probably a lot of you haven't seen my coverage of their debate because it was when I first started streaming. But in the debate, Hassan himself admits that the reason why they're having the feud is just like a optics issue. It's just, you're not covering what I want you to cover. It's not because of any actual different material position on Palestine. Klein is Jewish. Whoa, really? What's a Jew? You mean a high elf? And Piker is a wood elf and was raised a wood elf, but he's not still a wood elf. Klein's obsession with attacking Piker and anyone else who disagrees with, again, just hilarious if you actually look at who, and there's no sources, notice that. There's sources for him saying the N-word and the profile and it being washed up on any sources of like the material claim here, which is that it's a one-sided feud. If there's anything to source, it would be that. This week, Klein continued to be so mad at Piker for being anti-Israel. No, he's mad at Piker for calling CPS on him, or for associating with people who literally went on stream to say call CPS on him, and for skulls getting sent to his house. In fact, again, he's asserted many times he completely agrees with him on Israel. Then he decided to sue 3 women about it. He filed lengthy. So it's funny that they started this about Hassan, but this is about complaints not against Hassan. And it's because this person is a middle-aged unmarried white woman. Or, well, they're not all white who like Hassan. A middle-aged unmarried woman who is the primary Hassan audience. So they probably heard about this because they love Hassan, and so then they have to relate it to Hassan, even though it's not actually, it's like indirectly about Hassan, but that's not who the complaints are about, which you think you would lead with in an article like this, assuming you're trying to be informative at all. He filed lengthy, I didn't see any typos really. They were lengthy, and I did criticize that. Against female Twitch streamers who had reacted, which, while he has since revealed was a trap, which was a bad move by him, to sue Piker for streaming the copyrighted content. Piker didn't do it, but these women did, so Klein sued them instead. Pretty much. Which means, why would you say this? Because I assume that your argument is going to be that he only sued them because they were women. So why would you then admit that he did it for like a legal reason, not for like a discrimination reason? The suit features dozens of claims about Piker, including a paragraph comparing Piker to Protestant Palestinian. Oh yeah, that was when. That was when I was in the lawsuit. It's crazy. He did compare. For some reason, he decided to compare Hassan to myself. This guy from Drive, when I was in Drive. It's in the lawsuit. Go back to my video. It's crazy. For some reason, I was in the lawsuit, and now I'm in this fucking article. It's wild. The feud between Klein and Piker is so labyrinthian, it would take hours to dissect, but you're not going to do that, even though that's the core of this, supposedly. Again, no sources for that, which you'd think would be the most material element. Are so frivolous he didn't even think they'd make it to court. What? Did he actually say that?
Carving out some space here, some creative space here for herself. Any bills or personal expenses I have from lost wages and damages arising from this litigation. Lost wages? You mean the money you're going to pay me? Anyways.
Send, you guys should email me that, and that's not my real name, but you guys should email me on that email. It's the email for the YouTube. You can spam me. Sign me up for Black People Meet.
Like having to go to court instead of working.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's.
You guys want to know where I got that name? Here, let me show you. This is a really good movie. It's kind of sus, but it's a classic. Humphrey, the main character, uses an alias. I wonder if it's even in here. Yeah, see? It's like Rusty Shackelford. So yeah, he says that, yeah, but does he think it's not going to go to court?
The
because
intent, anyways.
This isn't going to court. I honestly, there's no shot. Ethan's a creep. I hope he loses.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said that. What I thought he was going to maybe say is it's not going to court because he's going to settle. That would be okay to say because it's just like, oh, my court case is so good, but he really shouldn't say that. That's like a really bad thing to say. And it's like what I was talking about before with it's like what I was talking about before with arguments that look good on paper for like an internet war and arguments that look good in a court document, right? And they're not the same. You really don't want to say something like that. Despite his demand for a jury trial, they're going to be extremely expensive, time-consuming, and stressful. Well, this is just the classic. If you do anything again, if you criticize anyone for anything, you're calling for them to be like you're responsible for every response. It's stupid. There's other stuff going on. This is just stuff about Trump. This is them talking about this mayoral candidate in New York City. Here's a hot take. I hope this guy wins. Not because I agree with him. This guy is so low IQ. He supports rent control. Rent control is so stupid and is so bad at keeping rents low that even straight up socialist economic brain think tanks don't think it works. It's so funny that it keeps coming back. And the reason why is because when you have a universal suffrage system where everyone can vote, people are retarded and they just hear rent control. That means rent doesn't go up, but it does go up. It does go up because it constricts the ability to get a return on investment on housing. So then just deposits go up. Or then you have apartment. They do all these loopholes to get out of rent control, and then those go up. And it basically just reduces the construction of high density housing, which is exactly what New York needs. But I hope he wins because, as ironically Andrew Cuomo says, it's going to make New York worse. Which like I said before, things got to get worse before they get better. Even more popular. Okay, so they're talking about frenemies, where Hassan was on it with him. Explain the lore. She's not going to explain it. Became a frequent visitor to, this is the Trisha Paytas shit, which is totally irrelevant to Hassan, but they're going to bring this up because she's trying to make a connection to Hassan, Ethan being misogynistic. What's really funny is, Ethan has a wife and has produced children, so he's at least doesn't hate one woman, whereas Hassan is not married. Who should vote then? People above XIQ? That's not a question you should ask because I could talk about it for 2 hours. This has been a constant discussion among me and my friends. Is exactly what the voter threshold would be. I'm going to pitch. Okay, now I'm going to talk about this for 2 hours. All right, here's 3 ways, 3 methods, and we can debate about the relative merits of all of them. Method number 1, you repeal the direct election of senators amendment from the early 1900s, and you stop filming Congress. That way people can't watch it on C-SPAN. You actually have to show up. What does this do? It returns actual value to local politics because it means that your local representatives are going to select the senators as they did for 150 years in this country. And it means people have to be reinvested in the actual legislative makeup of their local governments. That's option number one. And that's like an indirect way to dilute votes. Option number two, you have to be married and have at least one child. You have to vote by household. And it's a collective vote of the household, of which only one ballot will be submitted. That way you select for people who are married, and specifically people who stay married, and there's a cost for not being married and getting divorced, and you have to have kids. Couple upsides, downsides to that. The last one, which is the one I'm most suspicious of, is property ownership. And the problem with that one, of course, is you'd basically have to do some kind of Georgist land tax to prevent the accumulation of people who can vote. No one should be able to vote. How about that? That's a way to do it. A lot of governments have done it, gotten away, and been fine with it. It's possible to have no one vote and still diffuse political power. I talked about this in the second Andor video when I went over the essays. If you want more like political stuff, go listen to that video. I talked about how you can have a system that looks like, consolidated like a monarchy or whatever, but actually power is very diffused, and you do have a balance of power system. Cut out middle management and just get ruled by the merchants directly. For no one being able to vote? Well, the merchants, a lot of that just has to do with the economic structure of the country. In a agrarian, land-based or extractive economy, the merchants are not going to rule, but in like an urban, trade-based country, they will, regardless of who votes and who doesn't. And that's why, like the medieval kingdoms, despite being on paper very consolidation of power, while they were still feudal and had vassals and stuff, you actually had a pretty almost like it wasn't constitutional, but a very like diffused power structure that allowed for like local control and restricted abuse of power. But then later, as like the cities got bigger and burghers got more important and then wanted political rights, they like are the ones who pushed the liberal revolutions to codify those rights. If that sounds Marxist to you, it's because it partially is, even though I'm not a Marxist. But some of the analysis of history does not require the principles of Marxists to acknowledge that there's some truth to it. So this is her bitching about the Trisha Paytas shit. It is interesting that Klein showed Trishy Land on his channel when his lawsuits against 3 women. Catnip, the misogynist ecosystem in the Twitch community. So it's funny that the ecosystem is misogynist. It's not misogynist, which allows titty streamers, where there's all those female streamers that make all this money, but it is misogynist when they get any criticism. Great stuff. Frogan, both Arab women. Frogan wears a hijab. Yep, hijab. Comrade Zero. No, guys, I'm not a Marxist. I'm just saying that like there is truth to elite theory is really all I'm talking about. And elite theory is actually not like solely Marxist. Someone told, and if you like Umberto Eco and those guys talked about that. Read that. There's a book called The New Machiavellians that surveys a lot of early 20th century political thinkers that talk about elite theory that were not Marxist. Someone told Denims to launch an OnlyFans to pay for legal costs. Oh yeah, this was the fake OnlyFans, or sorry, this is this reminds me of the fake GoFundMe Denims launch. I made a video on that. And it's funny because she got like 100K from that, and then I destroyed coins. True. Yeah, workers of the world unite, nigga. But then she did this new GoFundMe for this like offensive law or defensive lawsuit, and she got way less money. This is her, and always with the heart, spurred me out. The gender-based violence, mass harassment is not violence. And mass harassment, if it's like physical harassment, is, but like not being called retarded. Okay, I am a Pol Pot defender. I've said that before. Total teacher death, dude. I hate our teaching class, like the class of like the economic or social class of teachers. Yeah, Pol Pot was right, dude. Return to Monkey. Return to the farms. Organize the pearls on Kiwi farms. Rise up. Yeah. No, guy. Well, yeah, it's because I'm a wannabe academic. That's why I'm a communist. I'm not a communist, guys. I really don't like communism. I can't be. I'm religious. I believe in God. You fundamentally cannot be a leftist. I think that's like the primary political distinction, actually, between right and left. Like, if you boil it down to principles, and like, you know, it's sort of like Descartes boils skepticism all the way down to I think therefore I am and I believe in God. I think literally the primary political distinction upon which, if you keep going up the logic tree, leads you to the two sides of the political spectrum is just, does an all-powerful sovereign God exist that is superior to me? If you say yes and you truly believe that, you will eventually end up sorting on to the right. If you say no, you won't. Gamergate. So basically, guys, so Ethan Klein is suing these three women, and how did this happen? How did we get to this point? Well, you see, everyone, in 2014, a games developer named Zoe Quinn had sex with 5 video games journalists to get good reviews for Depression Quest. It all goes back to Gamergate. Wow, this we should make a bingo card. Because this kind of fulfills a lot of the bingo cards things. It's like we got the mention of Gamergate, conflation of harassment with violence, bigotry. Like, this has everything. LGBTQP. Incredible. Women with long online careers like Casey Tron have already endured harassment from internet figures who Klein has aligned himself with in his crusade against Piker. People who are ecstatic to see his lawsuit regardless of its merits. These women haven't meaningfully threatened Klein's powerful position on YouTube, the millions of views he gets, his millionaire status, or his legions of dedicated fans who are hungry to rip into his enemies. Why are you trying to make him sound badass? Klein is more powerful than them, and he's reveling in it. It's because of the victim thing. Is you have to somehow position yourself as I'm a little ooh-woo bean, I can't do anything. Also, we should kill I have the power to censor and kill everybody, right? Klein is more powerful than them, and he's reveling in it. The cost of women on these platforms is yet another chilling example of what powerful men can do if you piss them off. Klein didn't respond. Oh, what are you? Assuming you're a journalist, you get to shape the entire narrative about everything. All right, I forgot to play this last time, so I wouldn't be surprised. The sexual harassment panda. Eastern Siberian Laika versus... Well, this kind of tells me, doesn't it? That this is a Siberian Laika? Laika? Fluffy guy? Well, West Siberia, so... We did it! That's gonna inflate my score. Hairless dog. I could see this being from East or West China. I could see it. Or it could be I always think that it's going to be one of these old Roman war dogs, that are descended from Rottweilers. Let's just try. No. Wow. Thai Ridgeback. Okay, this is another bird dog. What's nice is that these kind of dogs, you always know they're going to be somewhere in Europe because that's where the bird hunting tradition to breed these dogs came from. Watch me be completely wrong. Watch me just get completely destroyed. Mexico. That was a good guess. Oh, I know what dog you're thinking of with Mexico. Yeah, see, these are always from these kind of the bird hunting dogs. You know what I'm thinking about. Fluffy? A fluffy guy? Oh my god, look at this guy. Well, he's got curly hair. Short. We're going with France. A lot of these guys are always from France. UK. We're still getting good points from this. Yep, another retreat. Oh, yeah. Okay. Look at his floppy ears. Oh my god, look how big they are. They're big and floppy. Incredible. Yeah, those are hairless and darker. Yeah, I think you're right. The Aztec war dogs. A lot of those ancient societies war dogs all look... Actually, no, this is Germany. What? Oh, that's why it's from America. It's a coonhound. Long. This looks Central Asian, this little leash she's got. Maybe even like Mongolian. Oh. Or it could be Berber. Yeah. Slowy. Sly? I don't know. I'm getting pwned. Oh, look at the golden. Where does the golden retriever even come from? What is the home of the golden retriever? Let's see. Wait, no, this is cheating. Sorry. Never mind. Where does golden retriever? Where is golden? Yeah. Where does golden retriever? Where was golden retriever born? I mean, it's a retriever, right? So maybe Germany. I mean, it's gonna be Europe somewhere. It's funny. This is, you know, it's like the most famous dog, and I don't actually know where it was originally bred. I wonder if it'll just be America. Is it that new? Are golden retrievers that new? I mean, that's the problem. Is a lot of dog breeds are actually really new. I'm just gonna put it in America. I want, even if I'm wrong, I want golden retrievers to be from America. I was right originally. It was the UK. Apparently, it's in the middle of the ocean in the UK too. Whoa. Short. Yeah, I'm getting destroyed this game. It's right on that. Look at this guy. This is Germany, isn't it? Oh, Switzerland. This is a Great Swiss Mountain Dog? He has the right colors, but I thought they were actually bigger than that. This is what peak performance looks like, I guess. Mop Dog. I haven't gotten Poolies yet. Poolies are the Bulgarian mop dogs. They're very cute. Yeah, I totally sucked on that one. Alright, let's try Ethno Guesser. I usually do well in one and then suck at the other one. Okay. This is like Chinese. Like Northern Chinese. Or Tibetans. I could see South African, like Namibian, or like around here. No, maybe West African, like Mali. Fuck, Papua New Guinea. Usually they look a lot more, you know, less evolved. For lack of a, it's a Slav. It's a Slav. It's always a Slav when you got the round faces like this. It's a Slav of some, like, species. Maybe it's even West, East Slav. West Alpinid, really? What? Wait, they're Dinarids? Then why is it here? Dinarid should be here. It should be South Slav. Okay, these guys look like Papua New Guinea. This is what I imagine. This is what I was expecting when it's like Abos, Papua New Guinea, island type peoples. Yeah, see, these are Abos. Okay, this is like just straight up like Japanese or something. Or like Korean. I'm gonna go with Korean. Yeah. Okay, this is like Sudanese. Nubian. Yeah. What? Only 2,800? I'm right there, dude. Oh my god. I'm right there. No wonder this region of the world is always at fucking war. What is this? It looks like fucking Argentinian. It's not, though. It's probably like Iranian. Maybe Syrian. See, you can kind of tell from the pictures, though, like that she wears headdresses. You can tell this is... It might even be like Uzbek or Turkmeni. Yeah, it's close. Central Palmyrid. Oh, these are Turks? Okay. I mean, this could be like Argentinian, but I don't think it will be. It could be Italian, honestly. Like Southern Italian? Like Sicilian? Let's go with that. Yeah, North African, same thing. They should have put it over there. Okay, these are Cambodians. Or like Laos or something. What the fuck? Amazon. I've had this one before. I got Amazonan before and I got it completely wrong. I literally think I made the exact same mistake. See, this is the problem. I need to really lock in when I'm doing this because there are some I've seen before and I know I had this one and I was like, oh, Cambodian, Laotian, and then it's not. I think I made literally the same exact mistake. Okay, so not a round face, so not Slav. I'm thinking either French or German. Maybe like just anything around here, basically. Not blonde either, so probably more French. Or maybe even Northern Italian? Let's go French. No, pre-Slavic? Well, how am I supposed to... So I was right, it's not Slavic, it's pre-Slavic. What the fuck? Where's my other thing? Fuck, I lost my tweet I was going to show everybody. Hold on. I want to talk briefly about Iran. I said before I want Iran to have nukes. I still stand by that because I think it would bring stability. I don't know if this ceasefire is going to be real. I do think the attack was a mistake. And the problem with the attack is that there's no long-term plan. Okay? Because, yeah, we have the capability to do it. And, you know, I know people are arguing that maybe we didn't even destroy the sites. That could be possible. I just don't know. But the problem is that so long as Israel has nukes and we unconditionally support Israel, Iran will be an enemy. But the only thing that would like be able to convince Israel to ever get rid of its nukes is by the US actually putting pressure on it and by Iran having nukes. Because that would be the treaty. Like, I know Trump is going to try to say this ceasefire is like some big treaty or whatever, but that's fucking gay. What should really happen is Iran should get nukes, and then both Iran and Israel give them up at the same time, and they're forced to by the U.S. And whoever doesn't agree, the U.S. takes the other side. And by takes the other side, I don't mean really any like massive commitment, but just generally stops supporting the other side. I brought up before, Iran was our ally for 50 years before the Shah got overturned. Even after the Shah went overturned, we had the opportunity to have a good relationship with Iran. We recognized them quickly. It is literally just because of Israel. We have sacrificed what would be the perfect ally in the Middle East with us because they don't have massive territorial claims and they're internally stable. And the reason why Iran, you want that for a region like the Middle East is because the U.S. doesn't actually have like a good reason to care about the Middle East other than freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea, which is what Iran could secure. And so I like in a perfect world, we would literally not care at all about Israel and Iran would be our ally, regardless of their government type. And I know people like get mad when I say that because they're like, they're a radical Islamic regime, whatever. So is Saudi Arabia. So is half the countries in the Middle East. So is Pakistan. We supported Pakistan while they were fucking harboring bin Laden, and they supported the Naxalites in India for 40 years. So don't give me that shit. And also the idea like, well, we can't give them nukes because they support terrorists. Again, Pakistan supports nukes. You know who we don't talk about invading anymore? North Korea, because they have nukes. And as far as like the Moab bombing thing, they built the Fordo facility in 3 years. Okay, they built it between 2009 and 2011. So how long do you think it's going to take them to repair it? Let's say it's a complete loss and they just have to rebuild it. So what? We're going to have to do this every 3 years? Maybe every year and a half if they can just repair it? We might as well just have a national holiday called National Moab Day where we drop $2 billion bombs on Iran over and over and over again and just hope nothing changes. Hope there's no change in the geopolitical situation. Hope there's no countermeasure. It's just, my problem is it's not a long-term solution. If there had been a plan to all of this where it was like, we're gonna blow up the facilities in exchange for Israel submitting to inspections and basically getting rid of its nukes. Maybe this could have been like justifiable as part of an actual disengagement strategy, a long-term disengagement strategy. But it's not. It's just It's like a Nissa. It's like iDubbbz, where like every so often Nissa will just be like, it's over. You need to come do this. We need to buy a house. We need to do whatever. That's Israel. Just every so often Israel spurgs out and demands something rash to be done right now with no plan for the future. And we always fall for it every single time, even when we get people who say that they're not going to. No, North Korea definitely has nukes. Now, you could say that they're like shit and that we could shoot them down or whatever, but they definitely have nukes, and we don't talk about invading them anymore because the deterrent is just effective enough. Why isn't this video working? Why does nothing ever work? I just want to watch the keynote of the missiles going around. Well, North Korea is not prosperous, but they don't have to be to have nukes. And prosperous is like what, like, you know, who? I think Twitter is just fucked. Because I can't load other shit either. They don't want me. Israel does not want me to watch the Iranian attack. All I wanted to do was watch the Iranian attack. They've shut me down. My Fed connections, they're shutting me down, everybody. I'm being liquidated. It's because I turned on Daddy Jim. Well. Yeah, they're all living like kings, exactly. Every man a king, North Korea. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not like trying to apologize for North Korea. That's not really my point. It's just in a case where you can't actually stop them from getting, like, you have to commit. Basically, the problem we made with Korea is in the 90s we were super conciliatory and maybe gonna like reintegrate them into the world system, and then turned on them in the 2000s and then went back and forth, and so eventually they're just like, fuck this gay shit. Holy shit. A person with a Korean name just subscribed to me. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's because I said something maybe marginally positive about North Korea. We're in, boys. We're in, boys. I will be your top guy. Everyone forget what I just said. I love North Korea. Hold on. I love North Korea, Kim. Send me money. Put me on the North Korean broadcasting like system. There's this channel called Gucci. What the fuck is this? Guys, we found something. Is this just a dedicated Coke channel? Hold on. Is there anything funny here? Is this all just like 40-minute fucking videos about Juche-oriented economy? Oh, this guy streams? Whoa, cool. Oh, okay. Whoa, Squirrel and Hedgehog 20. Whoa.
Hello, comrades, and welcome to Juche Lessons.
All right, everyone. Can I go on this guy's stream? This guy's is got more subs than me.
In this episode, we will be discussing the development of independence, creativity, and consciousness of humanity.
Dude, what is with this guy's like eyes? Is he wearing makeup?
Awesome, comrade. I mean, Natalie Revolts is Juche Gang anyway. Now she just.
What I was trying to look for is there's this guy who made this really funny edit called Juche Gang with like North Korea videos.
Emotes to go along with it. Alright, everybody, welcome the new Juche Gang.
Oh, look, he's got like freaking
your Juche Gang
effects.
That's, that's what I always ask.
Whoa, this guy's the real deal,
right? NTC? I was just saying.
Does he just put on North Korean cartoons? It's kind of tough.
Channel. That's why on Tuesdays and Thursdays I like to spend this time and read like theory, right?
On Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, this guy literally looks like a fucking Sanhedrin, man. Oh boy, there's some interesting writings in Juche about the chosen people. I don't know if they'd let this guy in.
We can get a better understanding of these things, and the rest of the time we just hang out and chat, and we're here to all learn together. I hope.
Theory. It's time to read some theory. Don't let me become this guy. I already talk about politics and shit too much.
The form of self-consciousness traditional. That is, self-reflective program of culturally grounded desubjectification. It aims to
culturally grounded. How can you desubjectify something and still base it in a culture of which there are multiple? Well, whatever. Why am I even arguing with this guy? Hold on. This is us now, everyone. This is us posting red text in the freaking Kino Casino thread. Dude, I should go on his channel, but come at it from the perspective that I'm a Soviet, like Russian communist, and that Juche is heretical, and use purely theological terms to debate with him about how he's like a heretic to communists. Dude, that would be so funny. I'd have to prepare for that a little bit, but I could talk about Kim like he's Martin Luther. Our enemies used to be way cooler. Now everything's just gay and retarded. I'll say, for all the incompetence of the Soviets, they knew how to make good propaganda through the whole time. Yes, the Soviets had a very competent military. In fact, their deep battle doctrine is what informs our current military doctrine to this day. I play Russians in Flames of War for a reason. Yeah, guys, Red Army, red text in the Kina Casino thread. Red Army, red text. Put it together. Put it all together. All right. Well, I hope all the perspectives that you have on Jim have been informed. by the many years of clips and all this shit, or you all already kind of agreed with me, so it's sort of pointless. It's kind of the way this stuff tends to go. But I will be back on Wednesday. Oh, wait. I want to watch Housemeister's video. I didn't see he made one. Let's see.
This is a personal video message for Ashton Joel Parks of Petersburg, Canada. Do not watch this video if you are not PPP.
Whoa. Wait, we're not PPP. Okay, everybody, I'm going to have to ask you to keep a secret. I'm going to watch this video, even though... Do not tell Housemeister. Do not tell him, or I will contact my contacts at Langley, and we will do one of these, like, Iranian missile strikes on Germany.
P.
Well, you can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for a long time. Sooner or later, God'll cut you down.
But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depths of the sea. What is it gonna be, PPP? New lines are being drawn, new alliances are being forged, and who are you gonna stand with? Many of your old friends, you know, they think there's a way to redemption for you. There's still some good somewhere in your heart. I do not believe that. I do not believe that. But I think for the good of your soul, for your ever-living eternal soul, you should pick the right side. So Saint Peter might judge you mercifully.
Well, he doesn't believe in Saint Peter, right? He hates Catholics. He believes in, like, Saint John Muhammad III or whatever of Petersburg, Canada, who had the revelation in 2,000 years after Jesus to make the true church or whatever.
And at least give you credit in that regard. So what's it gonna be, PPP? Are you gonna continue to sweep for the pedophiles, for the lolicons, for the anime watchers? Are you gonna stand with Andy Worski, who will undoubtedly side with Mr. Medicare and his gaggle of Discord pedophiles with all his pay pics? Or are you gonna stand on the side of justice? Are you gonna renounce all of your alliances and just disappear from the internet and do the right thing? You won't, because you're a talentless hack, and there's nothing else you can do in this world. There's nothing else for you but this internet crap. So you can at least take the lesser evil option and go back with the Kiwi Farms and the Josh Moon, you know, the crypto pedophile. You can side with him, which you probably should. Stab Andy Worski in the back, end the Kino Casino, and have this blemish on your soul no longer, Ashton Parks. The choice is yours. Make the correct one.
Okay, so yeah. I think your heart is in the right place here, man, but the grift demon is in full control. He's going to do whatever makes him the most money. I understand you're, like, trying to make a pitch here. You're trying to say that, like, oh, this is the only way to save yourself, and it'll, like, it's sort of like, it's almost got to, like, concern trolling. I get it, okay? I get it. But he's only going to follow what makes him money. You have to, and the problem is the pay pigs like all the lolicon shit. They will defend, Jim to the hilt on that. They're part of the same community. They are VTuber watchers. It's like fully Mujaheddin is a bad word? What? I mean, that's what I refer to the chat as, is the internet Mujaheddin. I always have, because that's what they are. Hold on. That really pisses me off. Let me check this. I better not have chat. I try to set moderation on literally 0 on everything. Let me check this real quick. Yeah, I know. This does kind of come across as like a persip. Come back to me. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to like impose that motive on House. Like House is his own man. He can make his own choices. And I think, like I said, I think his motives, I understand like what he's going at here. I just don't think it's probably going to happen just because he's just going to follow the money, and the money is pro Jim. Like unfortunately right now, the money is pro Jim. Comments, basic. No. Well, that's comments. What about the chat? Wrote a message and it got swept. What the fuck? Well, I just set it so that the comments was on none. It was on basic before. I'm sorry. I don't know if that impacts that, but my goal, I don't really... The channel's just not big enough to have moderation yet. Someday I might have to, just so that we don't get like pedos shit. But anyway, I think your motives are kind of in the right place here, but he's just gonna follow the money. He's just gonna follow the money. And like I said, that's like pro Jim. It's going to sweep for Jim. It's pro pedo and stuff. You can't say Mujahideen. I can, though. Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, I don't think like, House is making an argument that would appeal to the chat, that would appeal to Internet Mujahideen, and I understand why he is, but it's not going to appeal to the thoughts of the Grift Demon. And honestly, you can't, what's the saying? You can't, do not compromise with evil, destroy it. I don't know, like, if you're taking the position that PvP is evil, which has been the position of these guys, like, you can't, you're not, and again, I get it, you're trying to like get him to self-sabotage, you're trying to get him to the infighting of all this. I just don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately. All right, what am I looking up here? Perspicacity notes. Exposed as a PDF. Kino corner. Let's see.
I'll become a pedophile for $1 million.
Whoa. What? Buddy, what? I mean, I already shit on Perspicacity for being the King Catamite, for, basically having a boyfriend-focused content strategy where it's like find new boyfriend, get rejected by new boyfriend, try to redeem new boyfriend. And obviously all those things are like associated with pedophilia, like all the statistics and stuff, but this is what?
I'll become a pedophile for $1 million.
But I bet you will have a really
Please give it to me. I'll become a pedophile for $1 million.
But I bet you will have a really
Please give it to me. I'll become.
Okay, so is the context here that he's making a joke about Medicare, that Medicare is essentially saying that he'll become a pedo for money, and that because he's shifted to grifting, it's associated with it? It's kind of the argument I was making before about how it's the argument I was making before where it's like Kirsch and all these people, even if they themselves are not like actively consuming CP, they are willing to position towards that audience because they have money, and it essentially is like trading money for enabling it. I think that's what he's trying to say here, to be fair to Persip. The problem is, again, yeah, when you smoke the devil's cabbage, you can get caught saying shit like that. But no, I don't think that's what I think he's trying to make a point about Jim. Yeah, I don't want to. I still want. I kind of want Persip to keep streaming so I can call in and scream at him like I did the House. I have some things that I would want to fight with him about, or at least that would be fun. But I don't think. I don't know. I think Persip's biggest like issue is just that he's like a boyfriend content strat. Like I honestly think he really does let it go that far. And he wants to be like the good guy really hard. The problem is it's gay. Keep sweep it up. Yeah. Well, I mean, the clip is there and I played it, so make up your own mind, guys. It'll be part of just one piece of evidence to put the case together. I'm not cucking to the Perspicacity network. Like I said, I will call in and I will see. The problem is all the terms I want to use will make me sound gay because he's gay, but it'll be tough for him. I'll just say that. No, I'm not cucking to any network. I'm cucking to me being done streaming. Probably who's new e-boy? Probably Haas. It won't be KKK. Well, one reason it might be KKK is because KKK likes to drink the White Claws, and that's pretty fucking gay. And there might be a night where, you know, he has one too many White Claws, and it'll be kind of like the Ralph thing, where the minute Ralph started screaming and talking shit, KKK like got turned on and submitted. Like, I watched that stream, and that's literally what happened. So that could happen with Persip. I don't know. It might be like a two bottoms situation. Bend the knee to what? Yeah, like I said, if he streams, I'll call in and I'll yell at him for a bit, and then we can do whatever else. But I'll be back on Wednesday. We're back on the schedule, everybody. Trust the schedule. It's this nigga talk. You know what I'm talking about. You admitted it in the call-in. Remember when Iron Wolf Spear showed the non-evidence, and then Ralph comes in and screams at you because he was drunk and thought that you were cucking the Fuck Warski Festival, and then instead of fighting back, you literally just rolled over. And that was why I came in and was calling you guys like Ralph. But yeah, you even like apologized to him. And you said the excuse, you're like, oh, I was drinking too much. I was like, okay, fair enough. But I'm saying if we apply that same excuse to a potential future perspicacity situation, I think the only thing that'll save you is like the two bottoms thing. I don't know. It's tough. Just protect yourself. You'll be okay. Just don't drink too many White Claws on Persip. I think you'll be fine. And then he will predate House instead, is what I'm saying. It's one thing to say Ralph can be entertaining, and you know he's in the sector and he's the king of the sector as far as like IBS and stuff. It's another to say I'm a Ralph supporter. Like, what does that even mean, buddy? When Ralph gets a win, I'll call it that. When Ralph falls out of his chair, you know, I'll call that out too. Nope, this is Halo 1, Truth and Reconciliation. Halo 1 is my favorite Halo. Halo 3 is the best gameplay. Halo 2 is the best story. Halo 1 has the best of both.